Please have a seat so we can get started.
Where? Right here. Okay. Here. Funny. You give Council President the guidelines for the meeting? Okay. No, no. Mm-mm. Just for her. Just want to make sure she has it.
Council members, I'd like to begin.
It's 10 after 7.
Our audience is always a special audience, but today we have a very special audience. So I want to welcome the Rosario family, Correa family, Duran family, Furman family, Henao family, and Cisnero family. All right. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Paterson Municipal Council, I welcome you to the regular meeting of the Municipal Council. The meeting is now called to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes, Madam President. Roll call for Municipal Council regular meeting of September 14, 2021 at 7 p.m. Councilman Abdelaziz. Councilwoman Cotton. Councilman Jackson. Councilman Kalik.
Present.
Councilman Mendez.
Good evening, Madam President. My pleasure.
Councilman Mims.
Good evening, I'm here.
Councilman Rivera.
Here.
Councilman Velez. Madam President.
Let the record reflect that Councilwoman Cotton and Councilman Velez will not be here today.
Thank you.
They made their phone calls even from long distance. Thank you so much. Madam Clerk,
Okay, you said yes, right?
Yes.
Council President? Okay, I'll just continue. Madam President and honorable council members, this evening we have to render the prayer, Phyllis Riley, one of my secretaries, and she's an associate minister of the historic Calvary Baptist Church, and her senior pastor is Reverend Dr. Randall Lassiter. And also, to lead us in the flag salute, we have some great, excited, beautiful and handsome children from the Paterson Charter School for Science and Technology. Everyone, please rise for the prayer this time. Thank you.
Lord God, thank you once again on this evening for allowing me to approach your throne of grace to offer up thanksgiving and praise to you because you are God, and to declare what you have decreed concerning this governmental body and the people of Paterson. I declare that you are raising up a governing authority that have ears to hear you, hearts to obey your voice, and a vision for this city that can only be realized by time well spent with you. I declare that you are raising up a governing body that will not try to figure things out on their own, but trust that when they call upon you in earnest, you will show them great and mighty things to come that they never could have imagined in their finite minds. I declare with you decree that whosoever prepares the way that you have shown them, you will demonstrate your salvation. For you are wisdom and you operate in prudence. You impart wisdom to man, and apart from you, from your wisdom, leads only to chaos in the end. For the government is not our savior. Wealth is not our savior. Education is not our savior. Religion in its ritualistic form is not our savior. But only you, God, are our savior. Besides you, there is no other. My prayer tonight is that those who truly know you will not hide their belief for the sake of political correctness or because they desire the approval and praise from men more than the glory that comes from you. I pray that they will be the light that you have called them to be. For no one would ever take a candle and hide it under a basket, but will put it on a lampstand so there will be light, illumination, and direction for all who are around. That's what your word does. Father, I pray that this governmental body will not speak and act solely according to their own intellect and authority, but they will speak and act according to what you tell them. Even Jesus himself did not speak or act on his own, but lived by these words: I can only do and say what my Father tells me. It is written in the book of 2 Samuel 23:3, he that governs over men must be just, must be fair, must be equitable, must be impartial, must be unbiased, governing in the fear of God. For he who rules well shall be as a light of the morning when the sun rises, like a morning without clouds, and like the tender grass springing out of the earth with glistening after the rain. Even in the midst of the many ills that plague this city, you made a decree that your eyes are always upon this land, and your ears are always open to the prayers of the righteous when the righteous search for you with their whole heart. You continue to remind us in your word that you are a refuge and a very present help in times of trouble. For it is written in Proverbs 11:10-12 that when the righteous are in authority, the city rejoices. But by the blessings of the influence of the righteous, the city is exalted. With all of the complexities that make up this great city, the violence, the drugs, the gangs, the killings, the poverty, the homelessness, the natural disasters, infrastructure breakdown on top of a pandemic, I thank you, Lord, that this city has not been utterly destroyed. In spite of all these things, your hand of mercy has allowed Paterson to survive. But with that same hand of mercy, I pray that Paterson will not just survive, but thrive. I believe that you have a plan for Paterson. I believe that it is a good plan and a doable plan. So I ask you this question, Lord. How does a city like Paterson thrive? And you brought me to Deuteronomy 28. If my people, who are called by my name, will humble themselves, pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear them from heaven and forgive their sins and heal their land. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit of the Lord is saying to the city of Paterson. Father, this is my prayer on tonight. Thank you that what I have declared according to your decree will not return to you void, but will accomplish what you have purposed it to do and prosper where you send it. This is my prayer in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
We'll now have the children for the flag salute.
We will now have the flag salute. Truly a blessing once again. Let's give a round of applause to the students of the Paterson Charter School for Science and Technology. Thank you, thank you. We will now remain standing. We will have a moment of silence for our troops, those that have lost loved ones. My condolences goes out to Ms. Kamisha Rogers for the loss of her son, and for anyone else who has lost a loved one. A moment of silence. You may have a seat. Thank you. Councilman Rivera, great job on today's choice to bring us prayer and the flag salute.
Thank you.
Or shall I say, great choice? Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, if you can please read the statement of compliance?
Yes, ma'am. Statement of compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law 2021 to 2022. Meeting date September 14, 2021. Time 7 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting was compiled and disseminated in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act law in the following manner. 1. The annual notice of regular meetings and workshop sessions of the Municipal Council was compiled for the year 2021 to 2022 and or about July 1, 2021. 2. A schedule of the regular meetings and workshop sessions of the Municipal Council for the year 2021 to 2022 was duly transmitted on or about July 1, 2021 to the North Jersey Herald News, The Record, the Arabic Voice, Italian Voice, Passaic County Pulse, Dominicana News, Crusader International, El Especial, Paterson Press, the City Post News, and Tap into Paterson, in addition to any other publication duly requesting such notices. 3. The schedule of the regular meetings and workshop sessions of the Municipal Council for the year 2021 to 2022 was prominently posted in the lobby of City Hall, first floor, in the place reserved for the announcements of this type. 4. The schedule of the regular meetings and workshop sessions of the Municipal Council for the year 2021 to 2022 was duly filed with the municipal clerk. 5. A copy of a schedule of regular meetings of the Municipal Council was mailed to any person who requested and paid the fee authorized by the Open Public Records Act. Madam President.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
You're
I also, I apologize, I should have also addressed our Commissioner, who's also Councilman Rivera's assistant. Thank you very much, Dr. Barral, for assisting in putting today's Pledge of Allegiance together to her children and her family. Thank you very much. So, Madam Clerk, at this time, I'd like to have a motion for...
Payment.
No, Madam Clerk, I don't have to. The addendum, it's
No,
not being
no.
added on. It was
No.
already added on before.
We're not voting them on. It was already sent out from yesterday
Yes.
for the meeting. So
Very
nothing to be
good.
voted on.
So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion for payment of bills. Do I have a motion?
Yes,
Do I have a second?
Madam President.
Do I have a second?
What is the amount? Can we have the amount?
I think he normally reads the amount first.
Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it. I just want to know the amount.
No,
Yes,
no,
I'm
no,
gonna-
we're going to go into it.
gonna
So,
go into
Madam
it
Clerk,
right
a
now.
motion made by Councilman Velez, Councilman Rivera, and second by Councilwoman Mims.
Payment of bills for September 14, 2021. We have total payments equaling $4,176,443.45. There was no payroll for this bills list.
That was the second. Anyone have any discussion?
I just want to
Discussion,
pass
Councilman
a brief
Rivera.
comment that I passed a long time ago. There is a payment here, although it shows that we're actually payments equaling $4 million. There is a payment to ourselves, once again. Is for $3,330,847 for insurance. Basically, you charge in one account, reimbursing in another. So is that correct? Javier?
Yes, the payment actually does. We just charge it it's a electronic payment, but it does go to the state.
We have to address that, I mentioned it before, but that's for another time. We have to show the actual vendor the money's going to, but that doesn't affect,
Today's
my
bill.
vote on this bills list.
Okay.
So we will continue.
Councilwoman Mims?
Corporation Counsel, I just have a quick question. There are payments for some of the frames that were done under Ellison Photo. My name is attached, so I want to know if I should be recusing myself from this vote. I just want to be put on record if I should recuse myself or not.
So Councilwoman, before, just so you know, each one of us has an account within the budget.
No, I
with the
know, I just
council.
want it on record from Corporation Counsel.
Okay, because each one of us does, our names are on there when we issue and we ask resolutions to be framed. It's been the norm, but.
No, that's fine.
you can-
I just
If you can
want it on record
answer,
from-
Corporation
yes.
Counsel.
Thank you, Council President, and Dr. Mims for your question. As posed, it doesn't present the conflict.
Thank you so much.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Madam
I'm sorry,
President.
Madam President. I
Councilman
apologize. Are there
Jackson?
any payments to the waste management services?
Mr. CFO.
No, there are not.
Thank you.
Roll call, Madam Clerk, on
Yes.
payment of bills.
Yes, Madam President. Roll call for payment of bills amount of $4,176,443.45. Councilman Abdulaziz.
No.
Councilman Jackson.
Yes.
Councilman Kalik.
Yes.
Councilman Mendez.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and we are in payment of bill, and I just want to take a quick second to just make a quick comment related with the with our finance, department, which is here in the city of Paterson, and due to the fact that a lot of the homeowners receive the tax bill, I know maybe other council colleagues are receiving phone calls the way I'm receiving. My phone was going crazy because all the increases that our homeowners receive on the tax bill. And something has to be done because quite honestly, it's so heartbreaking what has been going on in the city of Paterson. Due with this pandemic, our taxpayers are being hit for the third time from the Board of Education with $5 million increase. And something has to be done. This mayor failed to fight in support of the taxpayer. The school system has been closed for a year and a half. There should be a surplus. The school district and the city, they've been receiving millions of dollars due to COVID to support the city of Paterson. And on top of that, they're getting another tax increase. Something has to be done. I know this conversation is gonna happen very soon at this council, at the workshop level, but it's gotta happen. We have to find a way to protect our homeowners. It's just not fair what our homeowners are been going through with this constantly tax increases.
So, just put on record what you said, what conversation you didn't say.
I was waiting to have that conversation on the workshop. I spoke with Madam President. We are during our finance committee meeting. We spoke about the Board of Education increasing for the third time, hitting our taxpayer with $5 million increases in the budget, and there's no say on this governing body side. So at the workshop level, Madam President, I know we spoke about that. That conversation needs to happen because we have to find a way to protect our homeowners because they are the one, being hit year after year with this. My vote is no. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You say your vote is yes, Councilman?
No.
No? Okay. Councilman Mims?
So before I vote, let me apologize to the public. Last week, I did send an email to my secretary and to Madam Clerk that I was not going to be in the meeting. As you know, I'm here all the time. But last week, I had a scheduled conflict for another meeting that would have conflicted with this meeting at that particular time. So I apologize to the public for that. For this, I looked through the payments. I don't see anything that will cause any discrepancies as far as services that have been rendered. This payment of bills is to pay for vendors that have supplied services to Paterson. My vote is yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Madam President?
Yes.
Madam Council President? Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Want to reconsider my vote, please?
Yes. Yes, sir. All right.
So, oftentimes, I don't sit in the Finance Committee, so I don't have an opportunity to view in its entirety. But I definitely want to make sure I support my colleague there because I'm in full agreement. This Paterson Public School Board has totally dropped the ball when it comes to educating our children in a proper manner. That's the first thing. The school board, although local control has been given, they have been extremely irresponsible with their duties to make sure that they hire the correct personnel people. And I can't agree more that the administration has not pushed back and done its part with making sure that we hold them accountable for their consistent increases. Our taxpayers cannot take this. And furthermore, speaking from my own personal experience, now I'm spending $15,000 in addition to my first young lady who I'm sending to private school. And everyone here in this community knows that I've been the biggest advocate of keeping our children home. I sent my son all the way through his 12th grade year from kindergarten. He was a 4.0 student, and he was reprimanded in school because of the job that I'm doing here. All of my girls are 4.0 students, they're straight A students, and I'm now taking them outside of the district because this district is failing to educate our students in a proper manner. So I'm gonna stand with you firmly on this one, Councilman Mendez. I believe you're absolutely correct. And this administration needs to come up with some kind of an answer on how poorly our children are being educated and the irresponsible activity of the Paterson Public School Board. Madam Clerk, my vote is no.
Thank you, Councilman.
So, Madam Clerk, before you read the votes, let me just clarify something. Yes, we did have a meeting in Finance where the Vice Chair of Finance, Councilman Mendez, brought up a concern in terms of the school board and the increases. This bill does not have a payment to the school board. Last week's bill had a $5 million increase. I'm saying a payment of which we've only pretty much paid about $3 million. There was about a $5 million payment to the school board. So just to clarify, and in respect to Councilman Jackson and Mendez on what they're stating, all right, is that there is going to be more conversations on what we need to do in terms of the school board, okay? But today, I voted yes on the bills list, as Councilwoman Mims stated, and others voted for it, are individuals who need to get paid, right? Need to get paid because they provided services to the city of Paterson. There is no payroll neither, but definitely we just can't stop the city. So understanding what both arguments are in the future, once we are able to discuss in a committee and then move forward to a workshop, there has to be a plan on what we're going to do next in terms of that. So I just wanted to clarify that because it almost seems like we're not, because there's a payment here on school board and there isn't. That was last week. So, Madam Clerk, I voted yes.
Thank you. The vote is 4 in favor, 3 against, 2 absent. Payment of bills is hereby adopted.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Jackson.
If I may, just for a brief moment, I appreciate what the description that you outlined, and I think it's important for us to keep certain things in context. But this council has a responsibility, and the way in which this council flexes its muscle and/or holds the administration and other entities within the city accountable is by obviously approving and disapproving these line items in the budget. So I've been saying it for quite some time. I'm extremely disappointed with many different things, and this council has not taken its proper place in holding anyone accountable relative to the administration. I've been calling for a committee of the whole for the past 2.5 years to make sure that the members of the public, their best interest is kept in firsthand. So although we know that there may have been a vote last week that actually paid the bill, we also have to send a clear message, not just to the administration, but to the Paterson Public School Board, that this council is now has different expectations and holding them accountable. So as long as we continue to just pass things along and allowing for the conversation to say, well, we have to keep the city running, we have to pay people, then the administration and everyone else is just going to continue business as usual because they know that the council is not going to push back. And I just wanted to put that on record, Council President,
Okay.
because I think, clearly, even under your leadership, we need to make sure that this council takes a rightful position on holding the administration accountable.
Council President.
Thank you very much. Councilman Kalik.
Council President, my council colleague, month ago or so, I think this discussion of school board came up in the council meeting. And how can this council and the residents of Paterson could be more involved in budgeting in the school district with the budget process and approving the budget. The conversation came up. And we asked the Corporation Council to look into it and give us a input on how can we be more involved. And I believe last week we received an
Memo.
email from Corporation Council. The only way the residents of Paterson and the city council could get involved and stop this raising taxes and overspending specifically in school board, in Paterson Public School, is moving back the Board of Education election back to April. That's when, if we move back to April, then the commissioner has to, or Board of Education has to present their budget. It has to be a public question. Public has to approve their budget. If the public deny or do not adopt their budget, then it comes back to the city council. And the council has to work with the Board of Commissioners to adopt their budget. And can you break down that email that you sent us,
Actually,
Corporation Council?
Councilman Kalik, if I may, because it is not part of our agenda today, I really think that you've put it on record. I think there's been a few of you already who have mentioned it. We cannot go into an item that is not on the agenda today for full discussion, because you're asking for description. So I think for our next committee meeting, we can discuss that and then bring it to our next workshop.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, council members, Madam Clerk, I'll take the consent agenda.
Sure. Next item is our consent agenda item. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the council and will be enacted by one motion. The item listed under the consent agenda are numbers 8 through 24. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda by the request of any council member, and if so removed, will be treated as a separate matter. There a motion?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Mendez, second by Councilwoman Mims. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on the consent agenda, items 8 through 24.
Yes. Roll call on items numbers 8 through 24. Councilman Abdelaziz? Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Khalid?
Yeah.
Councilman Mendez?
Yes.
Councilman Mims?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Madam President?
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor, 2 absent. Consent items 8 through 24 is hereby adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm going to take item 31.
Yes, ma'am. Next item is item number 31 on our non-consent agenda. And item number 31 reads, Resolution commemorating September 15, 2021 through October 15, 2021 as Hispanic Heritage Month
I'm moving it.
in the city of Paterson, sponsored by Council President Davila, Councilman Rivera, Councilman Velez, and Councilman Mendez, and co-sponsored by the rest of the honorable council members. City Council Resolution 21480.
So, Madam Clerk, I'm moving it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Rivera,
Second.
Mendez, and Mims. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on item 31 for approval.
Second by Councilman Rivera, Mendez, and
Mims.
Mims? Okay, thank you. Roll call on item number 31 for approval. Councilman Abdelaziz.
I look forward to celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. The city is a better city today because Hispanic families call this city home. If you look at the last census, over 60% of this great city considers itself Hispanic, and our diversity is what makes the city great. And I think the city's a greater city because of the Hispanic community. I look forward to celebrating. Council President, I know you're taking the lead on the council side. Whatever I can do to assist.
Thank you.
There is a lot of Arab Hispanic families in my family
That's
looking to
right.
celebrate this month, so my vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Jackson.
Yes.
Councilman Khalid.
Yes.
Councilman Mendez.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. From starting 1968, we start celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15 to October 15. So I'm looking forward to a great program here in this chamber, bringing all the community together because that's what we are, a melting pack, over 52 nationalities in the city of Paterson, and it's a blessing. So my vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Councilman Mims.
So every year we get to vote on this item, and it's always a great thing. But what's a blessing for me, two of my sons, their girlfriends are Hispanic, so I've learned a lot of dishes, a lot of new words, and I try to have sentences with them. They said I'm doing a little bit better, but I'm not doing all that great. But I'm working on it, Director Joel. My vote is yes.
Councilman Rivera.
Looking forward to it, looking forward to the celebration, and everyone is welcome. My vote is yes.
Madam President.
So it is definitely a pleasure, as a proud Latina that I am, to sponsor this resolution as every year the council, puts it forth. And I know tomorrow will be the kickoffs, tomorrow, September 15th. So here in City Hall, we'll be closing the side street, Cold Street, the city, along with the council. We're gonna have a food festival with food trucks and kind of do a kickoff, with the banner in the front and so forth. But as a council, we will be looking forward, working with Madam Clerk, as she's always year after year worked with all of us to put a program together. So we're looking forward to Friday, October 15th to close it. That way it gives us, time to put it together. And obviously, council members, you choose, who you'd like to honor on that day. So Madam Clerk, thank you once again for all you do to keep me on check in terms of our programs.
Okay.
My vote is yes.
Thank you. The vote is 7 in favor, 2 absent. Item number 31 is hereby adopted.
Okay, very good. So I was gonna take the next item, but I do know the chief told me he would be here probably within the next 15 minutes, so we'll move forward to the non-consent agenda. Actually, no, we're not gonna non-consent agenda. Let's do the second reading. We're going to do item number 1 and 2, Madam Clerk.
Okay, for second reading. Next item is our second reading ordinances. Item number 1. For second reading, public hearing is required. And guarantee ordinance of the City of Paterson securing the payment of the principal and interest of revenue bonds/project notes for Ward Street parking garage in an amount not to exceed $32 million to be issued by the Passaic County Improvement Authority. Economic Development Ordinance 21035.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Mendez, second by Councilwoman Mims. The public hearing is now open for item number 1.
See no, move to close.
Second.
Seeing none, move to close by Councilman Mendez and second by Councilman Abdelaziz. Roll call, Madam Clerk, to close the public hearing of item number 1 for second reading.
Yes, Madam President. Roll call to close the public hearing. Item number 1, Councilman Abdelaziz.
Yes.
Councilman Jackson.
Yes.
Councilman Khalid. Did I hear? I thought I heard Councilman. I didn't hear. Sorry.
Sorry, Madam Clerk.
I'm sorry, you know what it is? He's looking at me.
I got my mic on, and Madam President just directed me to do something. My apologies.
I thought Councilman
and I
Jackson
got my
had a
mic on.
second voice.
Councilman Jackson.
Madam Clerk, please forgive him. There's lots of people that hope and wish they
I thought you had a second voice.
Michael
Sorry.
My vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Khalid.
Yes.
Councilman Mendez.
Now it's my turn. Yes, Madam Clerk, to apologize.
Councilman Mims.
I thought we had 2 Jacksons in the building.
Yeah, sorry.
Going into the Jackson 5. My vote is yes.
Councilman Rivera.
I'm excited about these projects that are, we're gonna be,
It's the hearing, closing the hearing.
we're closing the hearing, well, very excited, just like Councilman Mendes. My vote is yes.
Madam President,
Yes.
the vote is 7 in favor, 2 absent. The public hearing is now closed for item number 1.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, roll
Yes.
call
Yes.
on item number 1 for approval.
Roll call on item number 1 for approval. Councilman Abdelaziz?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Khalid?
Yes.
Councilman Mendez?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm excited about this project. I do, and very soon we'll see a change by the demolition of this dilapidated parking that we have in downtown. And I'm always said that the future of our city is just sitting right there, and you know that, Director. My vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Yes. Councilman Mims?
So I know many people will be happy. There's many times we got calls where people were stuck in the elevator. We had to rescue them out of there. And so many other concerns. So I'm really grateful to see when we're doing revitalization of areas that are blighted and have serious concern. One of the things, and it's not my quote, but it's from the movie A Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. And this is a great testament to that. So kudos to Parking Authority and the City of Paterson for this great partnership. My vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Rivera?
So this will show a great example when two governmental entities get together, put their resources, combine resources, and I am just looking forward to see the outcome of this project. My vote is yes.
Thank you. Madam President?
I have to say, I have been waiting for this for quite some time. I work across the street, and I've been at the college now for 28 years, and I think it's time, and I'm definitely looking forward to being there when the blast begins. With that said, Madam Clerk, thank you again also to Director of the Parking Authority as well. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you. The vote is 7 in favor, 2 absent. Item number 1 is hereby adopted on second reading.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Item number 2, Madam Clerk?
Yes, next item is item number 2 for second reading. Public hearing is required. An ordinance establishing a commercial loading zone on Grand Street between Mill Street and Jersey Street. Public Works Ordinance 21036.
So move.
Moved by Councilman Mendez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Kalik. The public hearing is now open on item number 2.
Say no, move to close.
Seeing none, move to close by Councilman Mendez and second by Councilman Abdulaziz. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on the public hearing. To close the
Roll
public
call
hearing.
to close the public hearing for item number 2. Councilman Abdelaziz? Yes. Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Kalik?
Yes.
Councilman Mendez?
Yes.
Councilman Mims?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera? Yes. Madam President?
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor, 2 absent. The public hearing is now closed for item number 2.
Thank you very much. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on item number 2 for approval.
Yes, roll call in item number 2 for second reading. Councilman Abdelaziz? Yes. Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Kalik?
Yes.
Councilman Mendez?
Yes.
Councilman Mims?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Madam President?
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor, 2 absent. Item number 2 is hereby adopted on second reading.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, I'd like to take, right before, I was going to do first reading, but I do want to take item 32.
Yes, next item is item number 32, a non-consent agenda. Item number 32 reads, resolution ratifying an emergency contract with First Priority Emergency Vehicle and authorizing payment for the purchase and delivery of one Lamar ambulance MXP 150F 450 for the Fire Department, Fire Resolution 21481.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Mendez and second by Councilwoman Mims. A council member,
Roll call?
no, Councilman. We have our chief here. And just so you all know, those that were here last week, this item was not on the workshop and it was not discussed. This was an emergency that came up on Friday, and I wanted the chief to just quickly just state what happened. That way we can move forward to a roll call.
Thanks for having me on short notice. This was An ambulance that was destroyed during the flash floods we had the other day that was overwhelmed by the water on Arch Street while transporting a patient. Water came up, guys got caught in it, and had to actually rescue the guys out. Ambulance was towed out, had an adjuster in, had my mechanics look at it. It's a total loss. So with that, with the condition of ambulances and how beat up they get, this is the opportunity to get it, or we wouldn't see one for another probably year with the chip problem with the Fords. So we got a few on recently redone, but this is one of the newer ones, the 2020 model that was destroyed. So we're just getting it replaced very quickly. And, you know, I guess I spoke with administration, no guarantee, but we're going to try and put in for reimbursement through FEMA. That's the attempt. It's $242,000 and change.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Council
I
President.
wanted to put that on record. Yes, Councilman Abdelaziz?
Madam BA, does our insurance cover this if FEMA doesn't? A regular, I'm sure there has to be insurance on a vehicle, correct?
We're still looking into that because there's usually some disclaimers for flood and for other things. But we're in the process, especially in the conversations with FEMA. But we do have, the city has created a storm reserve as part of some of these, to address a lot of these issues, and that's a lot of the direction from the state as well. So that's where this is coming from right now.
Council President.
Council President.
Councilman Jackson, then Councilman Rivera.
So, Madam BA, I'm just trying to be clear. We pay for insurance, correct? So we have an insurance premium that we pay for, but we're not going to, we didn't put a claim in for the insurance to
Yes, we
find
did.
out whether or not it's going to be covered?
I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. We did. We had the adjuster came in and looked over the vehicle. The mechanic looked at the vehicle. It's unworkable. It's total loss. We're waiting to get back. We did file a claim with the police report, with the accident report, all that. Everything is officially submitted. But at the same time, if there's any sort of recovery that we can get through FEMA, that would be great. If insurance covers it, because we are self-insured, correct, for that? Or so we're self-insured. So
Don't we have property?
you know, so really the best bet would be if we can get any sort of recovery through FEMA.
So
But we
if
did
we're-
the process of the adjuster and everything. Yes.
I'm sorry, Chief. I just want to be clear on this, because I knew we changed our insurance from being self-insured to another policy. If we're self-insured, why would we have a need to have an adjuster tell us it's totaled anyway? If we're self-insured, that would mean we would have to pay for the damages anyway. And Councilman Abdelaziz's question was, is there going to be a potential relief from the insurance company? And Madam BA says she's still checking into that. So my concern is that the council is always given half-baked information. You did say very clearly, Chief, and I apologize, because you did say the adjuster came. So who's the adjuster if we're self-insured?
Councilman Jackson, I believe we're not
We're
self-insured.
not self-insured. We have
Well, he
property.
just said that. That's why I'm trying to allow him an opportunity. If he's saying that, and they don't know, like, who's driving the ship here? I mean, if we're self-insured, that means there would be no adjuster. So, and then if we're not self-insured, we should have an answer as to what the claim is going to be, because let's say if we're going to pay for the ambulance through FEMA, then the money that's recovered from insurance should go to something else. It shouldn't be earmarked for this department again. We have other departments that have deficiencies. So let them huddle up and figure that out with whatever excuse they're going to come up with. But Chief, this is not, we should have more information, especially if we're rushing this thing through. And, you know, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just me.
Okay. Thank you very much. Madam BA, can you please just address, I mean, normally this is not, but because this was added, Councilman Jackson, his question should be answered.
I know that the CFO is looking into it. He can describe the insurance that we do have, the property and casualty. The issue is always becomes, and a lot of your residents know this too, about flood. What is covered under a policy isn't always covered under floods. And we're going to be making the case, this is also the case in terms of FEMA, of, you know, the fact that it was a vehicle in active use by the city, it was providing a city service. I think that's some of the conversation that we're having. And again, this is just happening. The reason why this is coming before you right now is more of the issue of there's a lack of vehicles around, and we have the opportunity to do a vehicle. That doesn't mean we're going to exhaust any opportunity to be reimbursed by this. So whether it's insurance or whether it's FEMA, those paths will be followed. So it's still. This happens all the time, that it does take a while to get clarity on exactly which area is going to cover it. Okay. But we wanted to address the need that the department has for an additional vehicle.
Thank you very much, Madam Bia. Councilman Rivera?
I just wanted some clarification because I was under the assumption that we were self-insured also. I want to ask the purchasing agent because we had to procure to get the services. So, Harry, Madam President, can we get Harry to clarify?
Mr. Cevallos, can you answer Councilman?
If you could.
Councilman Rivera?
Good evening, everyone. Council President. The question is?
Are we self-insured?
It's, for certain things, we're self-insured. What the incident happens, we have an insurance company that the City Council awarded a contract. The insurance company is Fairview Insurance. What is it? Very few months ago, it was awarded the contract. And when I was asked how we're going to proceed, I provided information to the chief to call Mr. Michael Graham. I had the number extension here, which is the adjuster for the insurance company, Fairview Insurance, which is the company that works for the city.
But was that insurance that the awarded contract? What was it for? Because we're self-insured for some things.
And some things we are, but remember also every December I believe there's 6 or 7 different type of insurance that the city covered through the broker. So this is one of the things that the administration was able to do. First, as we had done in the past, call the insurance company, they will set an adjuster, and we take it from there. It's covered, it's not covered, flood, you self-insure, we take the balance, everything else.
The reason I asked the question is because we need to get some clarification so we have an understanding as a council. Because oftentimes when we are self-insured, what we do is we purchase a stop insurance, I think it's called.
Yes.
That way we cannot be liable for anything. It would not throw our budget. For example, we have an expense, let's say equaling $10 or $5 million, that would throw off our budget.
Okay.
So he actually caps us at a certain amount. If the expense is higher than that, then they, kick in and cover the rest. So I just want to get an understanding.
That's a stop-loss insurance, you're correct.
Stop-loss insurance,
Yes,
right?
stop-loss insurance.
So I want to get some clarification, like, I need to know in detail what are we insured for?
Okay.
What we can do,
Madam
Councilman
Bia.
and Council President, is that we can get a brief from our insurance broker to discuss, to detail that for each of the policies that we have, so that the council is fully aware.
So let's have that, if you don't mind, for next finance meeting?
Okay.
And then we could present it in workshop, possible?
Thank
Madam
you very
President,
much.
Council President,
Councilman Jackson?
very quickly, I'll just wrap quickly. This is very concerning. You have the chief, who's obviously on his personal time, probably coaching the girls someplace, takes out time to come here. We have a CFO who has no idea. These types of things should be things that's readily available. People should know this. People should know whether or not we're self-employed and/or if we're putting forward a resolution to request money for something that they don't even know who's responsible for paying. The moment I was there, I reached out to the chief and other chiefs that was there today because I witnessed the vehicle stranded on Arch Street with all of the electric items still running. So the next day, we should have had a claimant, and we should know exactly if this thing is covered or not. It's been, 2 weeks? How long has it been since the flood?
Okay.
This is the type of, it's just an example of irresponsible governance where the community is
Councilman
continuously
Jackson?
paying for
Council
things.
President?
Councilman Jackson, the chief just said that the next day he submitted it.
Council President?
1 second. Chief, did you not just say that?
So we did the paperwork and got the claims adjuster in immediately. Like immediately we got the work done. And my my focus always is to try and recover whatever funds we can. So forgive me if I'm not an insurance expert here, I'm not. I'm the fire chief. But what I do know is I followed the process. We went through the checks and balances, we did the paperwork, we got the adjuster in to look at it. At the same time, I'm preparing for the FEMA reimbursement, just in case if there's insurance that doesn't cover it, or if there's an overage. I'm doing it, my due diligence on both ends, so that in the end, we get I guess, the best return on it.
Right.
For something that no matter what we need. I mean, let's face it, we need ambulances running through this city.
That's-
They're busy, like the busiest in the country, third busiest ambulance in the entire country.
So Chief,
Very busy.
and I know you called me soon after this, I mean,
Yeah.
the finance chair, myself, I know, and this was again an emergency, and I said, let's proceed, and the reason why I proceeded to put it on the agenda was because the chief said to me, there is such a scarce, there's a need, and there's very minimal,
There's literally
ambulances
two.
available.
There's two on the East Coast.
Okay, so, and this is the reason why we took action.
Council President?
Councilman Abdelaziz, and then Councilman Rivera, and Madam Clerk afterwards will roll call up or down, okay?
Thank you, Council President. That was my original question that I asked, right? We made a claim. That's the first thing you have to do.
Right.
No insurance company's going to tell you you're covered or not. Ask the thousands of Paterson residents, did anyone receive a check yet from their insurance company? No one. It doesn't happen in 2 weeks. If you got your check back, Councilman Jackson, then let's hire that insurance company. But,
It hasn't been 2 weeks.
It's been whatever weeks it is. We're not gonna, the insurance company, the chief did his due diligence.
No,
The
Council-
question I asked
But
was,
insurance company will tell you it is fully covered or not.
They're gonna let you know. if you're gonna
Council
get-
President, I
All
got the
right.
floor, Council President.
Council
So,
members,
the chief did you made a claim with insurance, and then we're also prepared for FEMA just in case that's what's going on. Every resident in the city of Paterson is doing the same thing right now. They call their insurance company, you make a claim. They let you yes or no. If not, you go to FEMA because we're a declared designation area. That's all my question was. Even regardless if it's covered or not, we need an ambulance. We need an ambulance at the end of the day.
thank you very much,
Thank
Councilman Abdelaziz. Councilman Rivera, Madam
So-
Clerk afterwards roll call.
So that's where I was going. Listen, the line of questioning was fine,
Yes.
but it should not dictate the outcome of this vote because we need the ambulance. We use an account that's called a trust account, which is money set aside for emergencies. Regardless of us being covered or not, we have to buy the ambulance. The good thing is that this purchase will not affect our budget, will not affect the taxpayers at this time, because this money set aside is not part of the budget. It's set in a trust account for emergencies or expenses related to, storm and so on. So I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there, Council President, in the sake of getting this approved. Sometimes we
I
gotta use
appreciate-
judgment
I think-
and
I think
vote
it's more
the
like-
right way.
Councilman Rivera, I think it's more than 2 cents. I'll say 5. With that said, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on
Sure.
item number 32 for approval.
Yes, ma'am. Roll call on item number 32 for approval. Councilman Abdelaziz?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
So, this is a challenging job. You are tasked with the responsibility of being responsible to the taxpayers. And if you can find relief through a grant, which the chief always manages to do, that's great. But what happens if there's another means to pay for it and you can utilize the grant to do something else? So when we talk about being responsible, I remember $1 million grant that we received for demolition equipment that has never been used, I think maybe once. So I can go down the line and list all of the items when this has happened repeatedly. I can also list all the family members' houses that I visited, who their basements have been flooded, who they received, their cars have been flooded. They don't have the ability to reach for these things, and we're not providing relief to them. So when we talk about being responsible and holding the administration accountable for their lack of due diligence in doing it in this part, I don't understand how we're talking about, oh, we want to rush everything through. Oh, this conversation shouldn't have went this far. I think people should look out the door, look out the window, and look at where we are. Look at the condition of the city, and look at how $1 billion budget, our city brings in $1 billion a year. With a $700 million school board budget and an almost $300 million municipal budget, and never mind all of the other money, the tax credits and everything else, $1 billion a year. Do you feel like you're getting your money's worth? No. But yet, we have all of these relief programs and a lack of responsibility and accountability on the parts of the council members that's just willing to lay down and do what they're told to do. Need a choker on some of these people. My vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Kalik?
I believe either way will be covered through insurance or FEMA, and my vote is yes.
Councilman Mendez?
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and just thank you, Madam Clerk. Before my vote, I just want to acknowledge something, and is that the chief, you always find a way to get the money back when it's come to investing in your department, and you definitely be doing an outstanding job. You are on top of the game, on top of your fleet, and I'm very confident. We do need the ambulance. You've been working day and night out there during this flood, and every time there's an emergency, the fire department, you are out there in the community. So I'm in full support of this, but nevertheless, I mean, we have to be honest. The administration need to know exactly what we are insuring for. They need to know. If there's a straight question, the answer have to be on the table. I'm not going to prolong this conversation. I think that we should go at the finance committee. We need to have a conversation about, when this question coming into the meeting, our taxpayer, they need to have that information. We have to be transparent. And in this case, it's a simple question: what we are insuring for. Simple as that. So there's got to be a conversation with the finance committee, Mr. Chairman. But, Mr. Chief, I'm in full support of that. My vote is yes. Thank you.
Councilman Mims?
So I want to put this on the record. If there's anyone that I trust in this administration, it's the chief.
Awesome.
Because of the work that you've done, the integrity that you put forth, especially during COVID, with everything that you've done. So when you present something to the council and you do your due diligence as far as calling the insurance company, putting a claim, there are some great questions that came forward on tonight, some great commentary as far as stop and loss or gap insurance. Before I vote, I want to put a recommendation to the administration that we look into all of our policies for all of our vehicles to check and see what type of insurance is on all of the vehicles in case of any type of disasters or emergencies that may come forth similar to this one, and then possibly put in place the same procedure that the chief has taken in this particular instance, that we can use it across the line for all of our fleet of vehicles. So I want to put that on record to the administration. With this item, we'll get those answers as it relates to whether it's covered or not. And I know that based on what has happened with Hurricane Ida, I think that there'll be some level of empathy and compassion to the city of Paterson. My vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Rivera?
So, Madam President, I'm just going to say these things briefly. When it's time to hold this administration accountable and criticize or pass any negative statement towards them, I'm there to fight for the taxpayers, but this situation does not warrant this whole discussion. And I'm usually respectful of all of my colleagues, but first of all, this is not a grant that we're using. We're using an account that's reserved for this purpose. It's called a trust, which is a dedicated account that has limited use. You cannot use it for whatever you want. You only have certain uses. Just so the public understands, at the end of the year, we budget almost on a yearly basis for salt, to buy salt. If it doesn't snow, the administration have two options. Either close that money that was left to surplus or put it in a reserve account. That way in the future, when we have a bad snowstorm and our budget does not cover the expenses, they could go to that reserve line. Well, in this situation, we have a situation that we need to get an ambulance. And this is what they're using right now. Regardless of the situation with the insurance, even if the insurance say we're gonna pay 100%, this is the way to go, regardless of what the answer was from the administration. Now, on that note, I wanna ask the administration, I already put a request for the next finance meeting, but since we're talking about FEMA, could you just give us an update for the next finance meeting of what we have collected for the COVID expenses that we have submit it to FEMA, see if we got reimbursed anything. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you. Madam President?
I think there's no question, that, I believe that we have one of the best fire chief. To see him still arrive to this meeting today, understanding that he had an item on the agenda and still was coaching young ladies and still made it here, that says a lot about who he is, his character, his work, and his worth. So I'm not trying to toot your horn, I'm just being very honest, and, I appreciate the work that you put in, along with my council members who have all great points in terms of, the questions that are being asked. So, Madam Clerk, on that note, my vote is yes for approval on item number 32.
Thank you. The vote is 7 in favor, 2 absent. Item number 32 is hereby adopted.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, it is my understanding that we're going to pull items 25. No, you're going to leave it? Okay, we're going to leave it. We are going to pull item 26. Okay, it did not pass finance, and our finance chair has requested that it be pulled.
Okay.
Okay?
So for the record, item number 26 is taken off?
Yes.
Yes, 26, item
Yes.
number 20. Thank
Council
you.
members, we have a few items left, but I'd like to, acknowledge that we're trying to keep to a time for our public hearing. So, Madam Clerk, at this time, I'd like to open up the public portion of the meeting.
Sure. The public portion is now open, and we have 11 speakers. The first speaker is Albert Twindall Prater. Please state your name and address for the
Okay,
record.
before you begin, sir, before you begin, I don't know if this is your first time here, but for the audience, if it is your first time, there is a time limit, there is a 3-minute time limit, okay? You'll need to state your name and your address for the record.
Yes.
Madam
Good
Clerk,
evening.
if you can start the time.
My name is Albert Prater. I reside at 123 Webster Avenue in Paterson in the 2nd Ward. Councilman colleague is he's in charge of my area where I live at. I spoke to him several times on the phone about addressing the issues I have on our block. I live on the dead end of Webster Avenue. He knows there's a Mars Canal brook right behind here. It's been neglected for years. I've been there 10 years, and since Irene, nobody been there to clean it up or see anything that can prevent in case of water flood the area again, how we can come to a way that we can prevent, I ain't talking about the natural water coming in on the block, but how you can close that brook up for 4 homes that we lost. This is my 2nd time going around in the last 10 years. I came down here once about when you're gonna do something about the street to be done. And then after Irene, after Irene had hit, I noticed I live on a dead end Webster right off of Nagel. I wanna know how's any possible way all the rainwater that comes supposed to go into this little canal full of trash, logs, and water, and debris and all, leaves and all, supposed to hold the rainwater when I don't even have a sewage drain on either side of my street from the dead end of Webster. You have to go down to my McBride before you'll see a sewage drain. So that's with the problems, and that's why got flooded out. I came down here numerous times, seen Fernandez, Javier Fernandez, talked to him. We looked at the plan, looked at this. And I seen the way down, the church built this wall, and the water goes the direct line, and then they got a curve to the right, and still going the path. And then when I go over by Glover Street and Dixon, over by Glover, no more than 50 feet apart, they got drains on both sides. Protect that 2 blocks, because I guess one side is Woodland Park and the other side of the street is Paterson. But I think it's not right, and I've been down here numerous times. The councilman talked to him. He don't even, once I told him about the issues, I won't see him again or talk to him unless I run him across on the street, or even the mayor. I called him, oh, he greet you all nice. I seen him at different banquets and this and that. Oh, we're gonna get to it. It's in the plan, it's in the budget, we got the money. We're gonna do this, we're gonna take care of you folks. All right, I don't hear nothing, and I'm tired. I'm up to here. Matter of fact, you know, I fully want to give in, tired of this city. I'm out because I don't get no help. We don't get no help, and that's why the number of the people is so lack here. And from after the flood, you know why? Because there ain't nothing gonna get done. That's it for me.
Thank you very much. And just, if it's your first time, know that there is no rebuttal, but Madam Clerk, I mean, to have someone come here and have let the administration know, I think that the engineer needs to be sent out there, DPW director, we need to really put, because a lot, you know, and just to say this, a lot of times the complaints come to us as council members, and you are correct, we can't do anything, but there is no rebuttal, sir. There is no rebuttal, sir. I have to call the next person. We'll address at the end.
I don't want to know who problem it is. Some people tell me it's the city, some people tell me it's the state, and then I hear
We need to address it with our engineering and the city.
The city.
Okay? It's the city. Yes, and we'll definitely, Madam BA and Director, you may want to have a conversation before the gentleman leaves, at least to, the DPW Director. All right, Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Yes, Madam President. Next speaker is Miss Maribel Davila.
Repeat the name?
Maribel Davila.
Maribel?
Davila.
How you doing? My name
Maribel, can you, the name, el nombre? Davila.
Maribel Davila.
Like my name, Davila?
D-V-I-L-A, yes.
We related? 'Cause I don't have a lot of family here now.
You said Davila.
Okay,
He's my son, he's going to speak.
okay,
How you doing? My name is Jorge Caballero.
okay,
Yeah, I'm gonna just speak for her.
okay.
So, we're here today outraged 'cause-
Address, please?
Oh, yeah, 127 Webster Avenue.
2027?
No, 127 Webster
Webster.
Avenue. Neighbor of Al. So we're here today because we're outraged because our basement apartment was flooded completely. It was to the point where it was unsanitary and unsafe to live in, and we had to leave. We called 211 asking for a refugee, and they gave us like 3 references to call, from mass disaster program to emergency shelter at St. Peter's, and none of them were any of help. They kept transferring our phone call until it got dropped. YMCA even told my mother that because she wasn't blind or had any serious.
I don't know if you guys are hearing what he's
Oh, oh.
saying, because I can't.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So, what was the last thing you heard?
I don't know who you said you went to St. Peter's?
No, all right. So St. Peter's. We called St. Peter's. We called mass disaster program, and none of them were able to help us out with shelter. They just kept transferring our phone call until it kept getting dropped. YMCA told my mother that because she didn't have any eyesight issues, that she didn't qualify for the shelter. And ever since the flood, we left Paterson and we've been bouncing from house to house. Like we're homeless, and we just want to know, like, why wasn't Paterson, like the city of Paterson, helping us out? You know, we did everything 211 said, and we're still homeless. Our cars were flooded while we're still trying to work full-time jobs. You know, little sister's going to school, I'm going to school, and it's just, we're handling a lot, you know.
Very difficult.
Okay, are you done?
Yeah.
All right, so I normally, council members, you know, we don't do this. I normally like to just keep the continue, but I feel compelled that I need to, because there's quite a few things that you said that, you know, seem a little disturbing, but I don't know, when you say the city didn't do anything, who did you address in the city? Because the programs that you're talking about, I don't believe they're part of the city. So we had a shelter, International High School. We have assistants. We have a director of Health and Human Services who's actually sitting right here, who has been assisting, flood victims since day one. So I don't know who you addressed or who gave you those recommendations, but they were outside the city. So I can't, or we can't really do anything, or the administration, and this is not in defense to the administration, but it's to say that you were calling outside entities that we have no control. With that said, the director is here, and I'd like for you to give the information, and he is going to be able to at least guide you and assist you.
All right,
Okay?
thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming here today. Madam Clerk, next speaker?
Yes, Madam President. Next speaker is Nobel Rosario.
Okay.
Oh, they were together.
Next speaker?
Okay. George Cabarella.
No, that was him. He spoke. Next speaker.
Okay, so Miss Harris, Francis Harrison.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Francis Harrison, 302 East 41st Street. I'm here to address you and the community about the Green Team. The team that was signed into existence in 2018. Since the start of our group, we have tried to educate the community on a cleaner Paterson. We have done a lot of different things. Our latest thing was the adopt a catch basin. And when Ida came through here, if we had more adopt a catch basin, maybe it would have helped the city a little more. But I'm here to talk about the Green Fair that is scheduled for this Saturday, the 18th at Pennington Park. It is a free affair, and we have more than 30 vendors there that are talking about sustainability to help a greener earth or a greener city. Michael, he's the next person to speak, but Michael wants to give you some of the vendors that are coming. These vendors are free. The information is something that is definitely needed because this city needs a lot of help. And if the public understands it better, maybe we will have a cleaner city.
Thank you very much, Ms. Harris. Next speaker, Madam
Yes,
Clerk?
Madam President. Next speaker is Mr. Michael Etel. Mr.
Good evening, Paterson. My name is Michael Eitel. I live at 463 Preakness Ave. Some of the vendors that are going to be there on the Green Fair is City Green, the Passaic River Coalition, AmeriGroup, Rise, the Green Swamp Watershed, Passaic Valley Water Commission, Passaic County Mosquito, Habitat for Humanity, Warrior of Godness Fitness, Clean Communities, First Lady for Hana, Home Depot, Paterson Museum, Anna Martinez Art Projects, and there's a whole bunch more. So we encourage every single council member to make sure that you post it on your page. I'll send it all your information. Make sure you post on your page throughout the community. I tried to get it in different languages, but I was unable to get it. I have a couple people that will translate for Spanish for me, Bangladesh, but what we need is, we need the community to start coming out for these things. We can all sit here and we can all bash each other, but then when we go outside, we're all separate. If we're really one Paterson, then I expect to see every city council member come up there. It's not political, but show your support for your community. Thank you very much. It's at 10 o'clock.
10 to what?
The event is from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
So, before you call the next, just to address, the fact that somebody does not attend an event does not mean that they're not supportive. Everyone here has already things that are on their agenda. If they're able to make it, we will be there. I can tell you right now, I will not be there, unfortunately. That is the day where there's actually various things, but one of which takes precedence over everything on that day. So even, because you'll be criticized if you show your face at 10 o'clock and at 10:15 you're out. So, so I'm gonna try to do that, right, before I get to that other, entity, because I know you guys are gonna see me all over on Saturday. So, Madam Clerk, with that said, and the rest of the council. So, Madam Clerk, next speaker.
Yes, ma'am. Next speaker, Mr. Keith Watson.
Keith Watson, 341 East 31st Street.
I'm also here to talk about the Ida, the situation. I mean, the flood situation in Paterson, I mean, we all know it exists. I mean, the President of the United States came to Paterson, so we know that there's a problem here when it comes. So many residents have been calling me in the third ward. I mean, now the flood has moved from East 18th Avenue, from 18th Avenue, now it's in Park Avenue. That the bodega now has been, all the bodegas that's there in their basement, they have to get company to get out the water. Now, when are we going to get, we have 3 council at large, and you know that you are here for the whole Paterson. Work along with the council person and the administration. We need to get a civil engineer in here like yesterday. We need to get them now, because guess what? People are getting disgusted, they're getting frustrated, and people are thinking about moving out. We just became a first class citizen. People are thinking about moving. People are not going to stay here. Mold and all this stuff that's come here. And Councilman Alex Mendez is someone who's close to me. People are starting now to call my phone complaining, you got to talk to your councilman, because they're getting frustrated. They have the basement, they renovated, they put nice carpet in, and guess what? It's ruined. Cars have been lost, everything. When are we going to get it together and said this thing needs to stop? This thing, we need to, Wayne had the problem, and guess what? They corrected somewhat. The same on Berkshire, I've been there for over 20 years. That house, 318, that was my house, and for all my kids grew up there, and that problem exists for years. Mayor Jones was there, Mayor Torres was there. We know that the problem exists, but we're not doing anything. Mathematics, when you go to school and you have a math as a problem, that's why they call it a solution. You've got to come up with a solution. The problem just keep coming back, and no solution. What are we going to do? And thanks to John Jay, I got to congratulate John Jay and the hard work that, we put together and to get this done, that we finally break history in the city of Paterson, that we have a street that is named after us. I can remember the first day sitting with, the mayor and, telling that we wanted a street to name after us. And, thanks to Councilman Jackson and Alex Mendez of their, subtle modus operandi way of getting it on the agenda to actually get us, to move along. And Alex Mendez, an indigenous of the Dominican Republic, who has found himself in the way of a Jamaican community that, we call him a family, that, he never hesitated to help us to move this along. Every time when I used to call Flavio and said, yo, what's going on? He said, tell Alex, get me the paper. Tell Alex, get me the paper. Talk to Jackson. And so, thanks and congratulations to Errol Kerr and the John Jay and, all the Jamaican that was on board.
Much, Mr. Watson. Thank you. It's a shame that week after week, we have individuals come and make certain statements, that are just not correct. They're just not correct. There was and every single meeting, we have to put it on record that no one was blocking the Jamaican community or the street naming. Absolutely not. I'm going to leave it right there. It is not correct to come in here and lie and put it on record that it was because of 2 individuals that this happened. No, that is not true. It is the entire council who took an action and moved it forward. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Yes, Madam President. Next speaker is Mr. Lawrence, Lamont Lawrence. Please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me? So the reason I'm here today is to make a plea to the council for one of the biggest issues that we have in Paterson, which is the crime and the violence and the issues that are happening. I do a lot of community outreach. I work with Rutgers Law, their community law department, on gang awareness and community revitalization. Yesterday, I was able to hold a meeting with several individuals from Governor, Carroll Street, and Auburn, which are pretty much the major and high crime areas in the 4th Ward. I was hoping Councilman Cotton was going to be here today, but in any event, I acknowledge she's not. The concerns that they raised to me, to which I'm raising to you today, is one of the biggest issues is that they're afraid. They're scared. They don't feel like the police that are in Paterson that specifically patrol those areas have their best interests at heart, or that they're even concerned for their safety. They outlined a number of reasons, specifically when it comes to traffic stops. The police are supposed to make you feel safe. I'm not supposed to, or any individual in Paterson, we're not supposed to be pulled over and feel that our lives are in danger. A lot of the reasons why the videotaping and all this stuff even goes on, people may believe it's for social media clout or whatever the case may be, but no, people are genuinely in fear for their life, and they're afraid. And the council members and the city of Paterson as a whole, we need to figure out some sort of plan or develop something that we can to improve these. Community policing was supposed to be one of the biggest things. I don't believe that there's actually a relationship between the community and the police in those specific areas. And I think that's a cause to almost, I'm not gonna say all of the issues, but it's a major problem and something that definitely needs to be addressed. I'm out in the community almost every day when I have my free time. I do mentoring, I do a lot of different things. And I always get the same concern. When I ask people why this happened and why that happened, it's always the same thing. Like they come back and tell me. We don't feel safe. We don't feel like these individuals have our best interest at heart. So what are we supposed to do? So my plea to the council today is we have to come together. We have to develop some sort of plan, some sort of agenda, something that we can use to move forward to make the residents of the Fourth Ward, the Third Ward, the major crime areas feel safe. I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna drastically change everything, but there's steps that need to be taken, and we have to start from somewhere. And I'm here today to represent their concerns to you, and this is the first council meeting that I've come to, but I'm gonna try my best to be at all of them when I have time, when I'm not busy, and I'm gonna continue to bring their concerns to you, and hopefully I could even get some of them to come up here. But the first step in me doing that, I'm gonna have to convince them that they can put their trust in the council. So hopefully that's something that you guys are, or can work on, and something we can develop to do. That's all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, next speaker.
Next speaker is Twindle Prater.
Good afternoon, Twindle Prater. Residence is 123 Webster Avenue. And I'm going to paint a picture for you. This is about Ida. On the night of Ida, I fled my house in floodwaters up to my waist, trying to get to safety, along with me, the family you saw sitting there, and my neighbor. 3 neighbors are homeless. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm loud, naturally loud.
No, they won't hear you. It's being televised, so they won't hear you if you're speaking very close.
But I'm trying to paint this picture. And this stems from, as my husband said, a brook who we've talked to, Clinique. He came out 3 years ago. I don't know if you recall Clinique. Me, my neighbor back there. We showed you the brook that had devastated us. Now, this is the 3rd time this brook has devastated my area. And if you look, when I look out the window at night, I have 3 houses that are dark from Ida. Neighbors gone. It's a very eerie, heartbreaking feeling. And we need help. We're asking you to help us at the end of Webster Avenue. Build us a wall, give us some flood barriers that can help us. My basement, devastation. I lost everything. Family photos, furniture, everything is gone. But I thank God that no life was lost, because we saw a river coming at us, coming our way. I left my home. I left my husband. He refused to leave. I said, you know what? I'm getting out of here. But if you can help us, please help us. We're not here to blame anyone, because we know no one can control Mother Nature. But build us a wall back at the end of Webster Avenue. Give us some flood barriers to help us. 3 times in 10 years, my neighbor here, he's on his way to North Carolina. His house is gone. He can't even live there. We need your help. We don't need this to go on record to write it down. We need an engineer, and we need them as soon as possible. Help us. Please help us.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, next speaker.
Yes, Madam President. Next speaker, Michael Mauld. Please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Michael Mack. Address is 125 Webster Avenue. I've been at Webster Avenue, I moved there February 2017, and I'm gonna make it quick. In April of 2018, my kitchen got flooded. This past February, the day of the flood, I sold the house. The house was sold on September 1st. The same day it got flooded again. Let me give you a little concept of what I'm trying to say here is that Webster Ave have no drainage. There's no drainage on that whole street. On top of that, it's unsafety because the nearest fire hydrant is over 1,000 feet. So God forbid any houses back there get flooded, catch fire, what's say. And Khalif, we had a little walk through up the stream. We seen how it's not constructed. An engineer came out there. Engineer said, "Oh well, we're dealing with another project." You know, the wall is sort of, it's a historical site. The wall is part of a church, but the reservoir runs from Woodland Park. It runs from Woodland Park Reservoir. If that reservoir overflow, that channel cannot handle the water, which and then it will overflow. I say about 5 houses are getting flooded at a time back there, and my house right now, it's flooded, it's getting gutted, but I'm already starting to reside in North Carolina. My job is switching me to North Carolina. I don't know why this is not getting any attention, because I guess it's a dead end. They say dead ends just don't get much publicity. It's terrible road. It's terrible back there. In the summertime, kids play down there. If they play down there, there's no gate. They can play down there. One kid can hit his head, and God forbid, you know, they'll stay down there for a while until, you know, someone actually notices or smells the child. It's unsafe. This brook is causing a lot of problems, and it's been that way for the last 10 years. As these are my neighbors, and I only have been there almost 4 years, and I couldn't stay another day until that brook gets done. And it's horrible. Sewage backup, plenty sewage backup, because there's no drainage. It's poor drainage. And hopefully an engineer comes back there. I told him I'm not gonna leave him behind. Even though I'm not there anymore, I'm not gonna leave him behind, because it's devastating to this family that spoke George, his family. They had to totally move out. All their stuff, every bit of clothes they had. So if you see any clothes going over the floors, more than likely it's coming from one of our houses that's going over the floors. And, you know, hopefully it gets taken care of. You know, I pray for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, it's truly sad, you know, that we can't really respond back to what's going on. I mean, we have, you know, but again, I'm going to put this over on the administration in terms of the engineer. Something has to be done, but something has to be done throughout the entire city and our infrastructure. Yes.
Councilor, we have our engineer and the DPW.
Oh my God,
director is here.
Fred, I keep saying our engineer, and I didn't realize that's you.
Let's hear it. They know about it.
All
Let's
right.
hear it from them.
All right, so
What's going on
what we'll do is we'll take the last speaker, and then I will, if you don't mind, let me just take the last speaker. Madam Clerk, next speaker?
Yes, ma'am. Next speaker is Mr. Elvis Durham. Elvis? Please state your name and address for the record. Thanks.
Mr. Elvis Durham, 283 Broadway, Paterson, New Jersey. I came here to talk about the big grand opening that's going to be happening in the city of Paterson, New Jersey. First, I want to say thank you to Councilman Michael Jackson. He's going to be one of the special guests at this grand opening. This grand opening is very important to me because it's a good friend of mine that's opening a store in the downtown area. The big grand opening is Wednesday, September 15 at 5 o'clock p.m. sharp. It's going to be at Paterson Tees, 188 Main Street, downtown Paterson, and it's going to be inside Lanique's, UNIQUES. That's 188 Main Street, and the name of the new store is Paterson Tees. That's Wednesday, September 15 at 5 o'clock p.m. The director of the downtown area going to be there. I believe the mayor, Andre Sayer, is going to be there. I believe Aldis Mendez, Councilman Aldis Mendez, Councilwoman will be Cotton. So it's going to be a nice event. Hopefully to see the #1 council president, Marissa Daria. Amen. You know, this is going to be a great event. This is going to be a black-owned store in the downtown area. I know people out here in Paterson saying that many black-owned stores. Well, come out and support. We got a black-owned store, 5 o'clock p.m. this Wednesday, the big grand opening of Paterson Tees, 188 Main Street. Paterson Tees, 188 Main Street, inside Lanique's, UNIQUES. Okay, I hope to see everybody there on September 15. God bless you and peace.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk,
Yes, Madam President. There are no more speaker on the public portion.
motion to close the public portion?
Move it.
Moved by Councilman Mendez and second by Councilwoman Mims. Roll call, Madam Clerk, to close the public portion of today's regular meeting.
Yes, Madam President. Roll call to close the public portion of September 14, 2021 regular meeting. Councilman Abdelaziz. Councilman Jackson.
Before I vote, Council President, I'm going to request directly to you, Madam President, and try my best to compel you to change this process of a newly designed public portion. I don't like it, just be honest with you. There's individuals that come to the podium every night, they expect to hear from us. They come here weighing on us, putting their burdens on our shoulders, and we don't get to answer them back. Some of them leave, they don't hear from us. I'm asking you to point out one time when the public's concerns was answered by the administration. It doesn't happen. And it's bothersome that we hear these scenarios, these situations that come before us every night, and we're unable to answer them. When I came on this council, when you were already sitting, we always had an opportunity, depending upon what those issues are, to answer to these members. We should not have to get up and go speak to them, and while the next speaker is coming forward, we're missing what they're saying. So I'm asking you to consider that. It's very disheartening. You know, these people that are losing their valuables, which is obviously replaceable, but they should not have to go through these types of conditions and not have an answer from this body as well as from the administration. Has to be a better level of accountability. With that being said, Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Yes, Councilman Khalid.
Yes.
Councilman Mendez.
Yes.
Councilman Mims.
Before I vote, to our business administrator, I would like us to do a review of the 211 system. A lot of people that experience, well, it's not even through the hurricane, even prior to that, there were a lot of people that calls were dropped, they were not answered, so I would like to put it on the record to do a review of the 211 system to make that process easier and to allocate whatever resources, whatever they are, maybe on our access channel or whatever, robocall, whatever we need to do, because a lot of people are confused as it relates to what do they do if with the hurricane they are homeless or they have some questions or concerns. I got a lot of calls, and we had a lot of people that came tonight, and we've heard so many complaints of so many people that had a lot of damages, whether it was through the flooding on East 42nd Street, 41st Street, there was a tree that fell on top of someone's vehicle, wires, so many different concerns that we had all over the city because of, this, it was an act of God. It had, it wasn't something from us. But the residents definitely deserve a path to how do they get to the resources. Also, as far as FEMA, I know that the link was sent, but if we can robocall that to give it out to the residents as well, just to make the process a little bit easier, because the devastation of what took place during Hurricane Ida was very egregious. So if we can just look into that. Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Rivera?
Just gonna say a few things. I got 2 minutes before I vote. Madam BA, I know the engineer is here. I want to know what could we do to address the issue in Webster. That's one. Two, what resources, depending on the cost, what resources we have available. I know that because of COVID, we're getting a lot of funding from the feds. These people have a life. Just put yourself in their shoes and just imagine what they're going through. It wasn't just a storm, based on what they're saying. This is something that happens often. So I'm curious to hear what could we do for them in that block, and then we're going to get together as a council and decide and put resources together to address that issue, because it's sad what is going on there. Two, Keith, I want to address, the comment that you passed. You stated that, yes, listen, it was a collective effort by the council, but remember, you have 4 council members part of a street naming committee, right? And I have it right in front of me. You have Ala Delacis, Maritza Davila, Flavio Rivera, and Shaheen Khalik. Not taking any credit away from Councilman Jackson and Councilman Mendez. Yes, they were pushing for it also. But just to get on the mic, and I'm not saying anything, negative towards you, Keith. All I'm saying is that, yes, it took some time for it to get done, but you were persistent, lobbying us, and at the end of the day, we got it done, just so you know. The times that you have come to me and I have told you, to speak to Alex Mendez, if it's something related to DPW, I know you have a great relationship with him. He's the DPW chair. He's the one that could, actually, he was the chair before. During the times that I asked you to go. Now he's the vice chair, but he was the chair previously. And he's the one that could get it, resolved right away, because he has the line, the access during the committee meetings with our DPW director. So any issues around the area, that's when I asked you to speak to him, because I know you speak to him often. So that's the reason. I wasn't pushing, my responsibility towards him. I just trying to show you, a quicker way to get the thing addressed. That was it. My vote is yes.
Thank you. Madam President?
So before I vote, I was addressed by one of my colleagues, and, to hold people accountable. And because I have the responsibility to run the meeting, there is a process for everything. And so every person that comes and speaks to us is very important to us, and their issues and their situations. You could just imagine the back and forth. I've had people come here upset, attacking the council on an issue that clearly has to be addressed through the administration. And we're your advocates, but then it becomes a shouting match and a back and forth. And so although some may not agree with the process, it is a process. It is up to the president's discretion to address and put a pause on the timer and say, give you more time. That's up to the council president's discretion. Here, everyone is important, but I am accountable to all, everyone that comes into, this chambers. And so, I heard some really alarming things. To see a young man stand before us and say, we're homeless. We're homeless. Like that you feel compelled. We could have done the back and forth, but what is that going to do? In addition, it's also putting the personal life, their business out there. This is being recorded. And so this is why I address and I said, there's the directors here, please pull them aside. He takes them, he does an assessment, he does, what he needs to do. Every matter here is important. In terms of what's going on with Webster Avenue, it's a major issue. You just heard from our finance chair. You've heard from our at-large. And I say that because, there's 3 at-large, which is Rivera, Mims, and I, and then Councilman Kalik. Councilman Kalik can't do it alone. He can go, and you know what? He goes to the administration, nothing's being done, and it's unfortunate. You said you didn't hear from him again. All right, he's handling the city business, the second ward business, and no excuse to him, because everyone here can stand on their own 2 feet. But just to address the situation, it's unfortunate, but while I'm sitting here as a council president, I have to have an order, and we will continue with that order. It is not my order, it is the chamber, it is the council as a whole. Although one may not agree, we will continue to do business this way unless there is a moment where we need to, we can do it. It's up to the council's discretion, the council president who presides the meeting. So with that said, I'm ready here now to hear what our engineer is going to say and to the administration, okay? Madam Clerk, my vote is yes to close the public portion.
Thank you. The vote is 7 in favor, 2 absent. The public portion of the regular meeting is now closed.
So, Madam BA, and to the engineer, if you may please, Madam BA.
Sure, thank you, Council President. The first, and I will let our engineer speak to a little of the flooding concerns and what I was just speaking to him about in terms of the ways that we as a city, unfortunately, a lot of the jurisdictional issues are, make this a more complicated issue, as is all flooding in the city, as we know from, those of us like myself who were, devastated by Hurricane Irene in our neighborhoods in Paterson as well as this continues with Ida. So, but before that, I just want to address Councilwoman Mims' point. And the question of 211, that is a state-run system hotline. And this is something that even our innovation officer has been trying to work with them to improve how they handle sheltering, even just for the homeless at night when it's cold, kind of cold blue. They don't always give the correct information at the local level. So it is something that we're aware of, and we're trying to do a better job. And then on our side, we're trying to get the information out about the resources that we have available here in the city of Paterson that HHS is working on, that the county is supporting with some of the sheltering, including hotel sheltering. And I know the director probably gave that information directly to that family that was here. So we are going to continue to try to improve that. I don't know if the council saw some information just this afternoon from the council, from the congressman's office, that they are absolutely taking a lead on this and trying to assist people in both Bergen County and Passaic County through the congressman's district by setting up disaster recovery centers. And I'm asking Mr. Ming to include that in upcoming, like on the cable access channel, so that more people will see. There's always the ability to apply online with FEMA resources, but that's not always easy for everybody. They don't have the access to the internet. They don't understand it. There are 2 centers that have been set up in Hackensack and Little Falls, and we'll talk to the congressman and see if there might be one that can be set up in Paterson as well, to help people walk through it, to answer questions, to explain all the disaster assistance programs, to really help them make the applications that they might not be able to do themselves. So that those 2 have been set up. That was an email as of this afternoon, shortly before we started our meeting. So, but I'll let maybe if Fred can speak a little bit to some of the flooding issues, especially connected to the Morris Canal and some of the challenges and how our hands are tied in some ways.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Fred Margron, our city engineer.
Good evening, everybody. I guess just to give you a little bit of an update, one of the things that we have done, I would say probably over the last 2 years, FEMA instituted a program called a flood mitigation plan. My office, the OEM office, and a number of other individuals worked with the county and worked with the state OEM and with FEMA to develop a plan to address a number of emergency issues that would come up. One of the big ones for us, obviously, is always flooding. As part of that, we identified a series of projects that we felt would be helpful, focusing on things like river maintenance, repair of walls that are damaged that are along the banks of the river, drainage improvements, a wide variety of projects. The idea of getting them onto this plan was so that when FEMA money becomes available, if they're on the list, it's supposed to be easier to get funding. So with the declaration that's in place, one of the things that perhaps we can do is, contact the right people, contact FEMA and see if that's a possibility, that perhaps some funding will be released for some of the projects that were identified in this plan.
I'm sorry. I want specific right now to address Webster Ave.
Okay, I was getting to that.
Because they're here, and I want them to what Councilman Jackson was stating. So I understand what you're doing as a whole, but specific to right now, it's clear to me the past 10 years, is that what you said? That there's been issues. So it's obvious to me, is this been something that has been identified as an issue, or is this the first time you're hearing about Webster Ave?
This is the first time it's come to my attention.
This is the first time it's come to your attention.
Well,
Okay.
Director,
I mean, he hasn't been here, you've been here
Council
20 years.
President. Council, I
I'm
don't
sorry,
think-
Councilman Kalik.
I don't think it's the first time, engineer. Somebody from your office, somebody even visited that place.
You
Not
did a
more than a
walkthrough?
couple of years ago.
3 years ago?
Probably.
I don't think they were from my office.
Yeah, and the PW city, somebody went there.
We've gotten involved with the area by Edmonds Avenue. We've gotten involved
Can we,
with
yes,
over by Rossiter
There
Ave.
is a canal there, yes. Anyway, can we take a look at the situation and if possible, put it on the list and let's not go backward. Let's move forward.
That's
and
fine.
see, since FEMA designated Paterson is one of the disaster zone, maybe we could get some funding from FEMA and get this job done.
Yes, sir. One of the things that I mentioned when I was speaking with the BA that I think is one of the rapid things that we could do is that the state granted a waiver to do basically river cleanup. That would allow a lot of the branches, the logs, the trash, all of that to be removed so that the flow in the stream and in the river wouldn't be impeded, and it would help address any potential for future flooding.
And Council President, if I could follow
Yes.
up as well. Fred, if you could speak to that issue of a lot of the flood mitigation is not as easy to take on as a local entity because it's so highly regulated.
Yes.
Can you speak to that?
One of the things which I'm sure you're all aware of is to do any work within a floodplain or a floodway is very highly regulated by New Jersey DEP and by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. In fact, to do something like build a flood wall, like you've seen them do down in New Orleans or something like that, only the Corps of Engineers could do that. They won't allow a municipality to do that. So certainly it would be a challenge for us to look at doing something like that, but there are other things that are within our area where they would allow us to proceed, such as the maintenance work that I mentioned.
Council President.
Councilman Jackson, then Councilman Mendez.
So, Mr. Mogron, you just stated that there's potential funding available to do certain things like cleaning the waterways and removing debris, logs, garbage, things of that nature. Can you tell me the last time that's taken place?
I said there may be funds available. We would have to check with the folks at FEMA. I do not know for sure if it is.
Councilman, we actually did an emergency cleanup on Friday behind School 7 at the Dixon Ave, the two large inlets they have there. We did an emergency cleaning on Friday to clean it out because both tunnels were totally clogged.
The inlets, are you referring to the CSO combined?
No, it's the little creek that sits behind School 7 on Dixon and Ramsey.
Okay.
They have two pipes there, and from the water coming down, it blocked maybe about 80% of both of the pipes, so we cleaned them out with our crane.
So, I mean, we know that this is an ongoing issue. We have people like Martha has been coming down because 20th Avenue, they were underwater. They had a great deal of automobile damages. And there, the thought is that the outlet to the sewer line that goes into the river on 21st Avenue, 19th Avenue, there's some blockage there. So if we know all of these issues are taking place, and as Fred has talked about, I mean, it hasn't been done before in the past. So is this partially part of the reason why residents are having these issues? So my question is, you know, I understand you cleaned it up then, but if we can only have the Corps of Engineers erect the wall, where have those requests been made? Are we doing anything to circumvent the loss of people's personal properties and potentially the loss of life? So we understand these options are all potential options, possible options, but what measures have we taken up until this point to possibly prevent some of these flood areas from being flooded? And lastly, sorry, Director, I apologize, but directly to Councilman Kalik's request and the residents on Webster, what's the situation with the lack of sewage, open sewer presence there that's going to possibly prevent some of this, you know, this home flooding?
Well, the sewer, we'll be out there tomorrow. Me, Fred, we'll try to get Passaic Valley Sewer Commission out there. Whoever we have to get out there, the county, Passaic Valley Water Commission. But as far as the Webster Ave flooding, I've been here almost 25 years. I've been on the road. I've been a general supervisor of streets and roads. I've been a deputy director. This is the first time I ever hear of having major flooding on Webster Ave. And I lived on Lenox. I lived on Murray Ave for about 10 years, and that's right behind Dixon Ave. I lived there 10 years, and we've never.
Madam, please.
I mean, I understand that, Director.
The husband of Mr. Albert, he was out there Friday with us, and he was explaining to us his concerns. Passaic Valley Water Commission was on site with us at the job and said the only major flooding issue that they were concerned about was at the spot that we were at. The whole Slippery Rock Creek was full flow. There was no blockage anywhere. That's what they referred to us. They didn't tell us there was any blockage anywhere upstream, all the way up to the bend where it bends at Webster Ave. There was no blockage. Only behind the school where we cleared on Friday.
So, with all due respect, Director, I would agree. My uncle lives on Carlisle. I'm not aware of that street being a flood area, but I have to respect the homeowners who's coming here telling us that this is a multiple occurrence, that it's not the first time. And I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying that maybe you haven't done your part, but what are we doing to moving forward, or what has been done to make sure that we don't have residents in the same condition? Like, for example, if we know the 20th Avenue outlet is an issue, are we doing the preventative maintenance? And when it, just like a snowstorm, just like when we get the forecast is predicting 2 or 3, 4 feet, we load up on the salt domes. When we know there's a potential of a flash flood, do we have hotspot areas designated that say we need to make sure these areas are clear so these residents don't get hit? Can you outline that very quickly?
Before the storm came, us, the fire department, police department, OEM, we sat down, we outlined all our flood areas that we know about, all our historical flooding areas. We put out barricades just to make sure if they get flooded, that we could block off, that nobody comes in. We cleared all the catch basins. We had the county help. We had private people out, sucking out the inlets. We made sure that they was clear. During the storm, we were out there. My guys were out there 24/7. I was out there. We were doing what we had to do. 4 inches of rain an hour is hard to keep up with.
Thank you. Councilman Mendez?
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, Billy and Fred. I think that before I address Fred, something really caught my attention from Madam BA. She mentioned that there's a couple of locations in somewhere in a neighboring town that are, open to assist the resident. But being Paterson, the 3rd largest city in the state of New Jersey, in a moment like this, in this type of emergency, this city need to have an office open with people on site to help our residents to apply to FEMA and get the help directly. And we've been talking about this over and over. Every time there's an emergency, every time there's a problem in the city of Paterson, our Patersonian, they don't have a specific place to go and say, listen, come here, we're gonna help you to apply through FEMA. We're gonna help you to make the report. A lot of elected officials at the state level and federal level, they've been encouraging all the residents to please fill out, apply to FEMA, go through FEMA, make a report and document all your losses in order for you to get some type of reimbursement. But some of our residents, they don't have any way to apply. They lost everything. They lost everything. And I called the administration, and the response that I have was to, all right, give, your constituent the 973-321-1111. There's gonna be a team of people receiving the phone calls and documenting all your losses and getting the report. A lot of people called, they didn't get any answer. So how do we serve in this town? How do we serve in our resident? Being Paterson, the third largest city in the state of New Jersey. That's the type of question that I ask myself. We have a little town, they put everything together, and they provide assistance directly, one-on-one, to our residents. I still thinking about the young man and the lady that came in front of the mic, saying that they are homeless right here in Paterson. That they are homeless in Paterson. I mean, I'm still thinking about that. I just passed, I didn't make any comment because honestly, I didn't know what to say. And our resident from Western Avenue, they lost everything. Those are family that live in the city of Paterson. And honestly, I don't know what to say.
1 second, we don't,
Because, I'm sorry.
I didn't know we had a quorum.
Oh, no, I think we have 5. Oh.
He's in the room, it's fine.
He's in the room, it's fine. So those are residents in the city of Paterson. Those are our Patersonians that honestly, I don't know what to say because when you come to me, I go in front of the administration and I ask the administration, listen, this is what happened. I'm not the one to take action because as a legislator, I'm supposed to be the bridge between you and the administration. Once they get the information, they're supposed to take action. And this goes for Councilman Kalik and myself in the third ward, and we don't have an answer for that. And that's something that really concerns me right now.
Council President?
And just let me just finish my point. I want to go back to Fred and to Billy. Flooding is a major problem in the city of Paterson. Even area that never been flooded before, now they are, like Madison and 11th Avenue by the Chinese restaurant. 18th Avenue and East 34, East 35th, East 33rd, 17th Avenue. Not with Ida, with every little bit of rain, the flooding is just incredible. I have this conversation with Billy and Fred. We have this conversation before. There's got to be a plan because this is it's getting worse and worse in a lot of the area in the city of Paterson. My concern with the garbage around in the city of Paterson is extremely filthy.
Yeah.
Well, every time we see the catch basin is full of garbage, and we got to have a plan, a citywide plan, because flooding now is in the entire city of Paterson.
Thank you very much, Councilman Mendez. Thank you very much. So, Councilman Kalik,
Madam President.
Councilman Abdelaziz was next?
Madam
I'm
President.
sorry? Then the BA? Okay, Councilman Abdelaziz and then Madam BA.
Thank you, Council President. So, I said I was going to stay quiet, but then when I hear things said to the public that are listening, we can say things that make people feel good, but we gotta tell people the truth and the reality, right? And I'm going to talk about my ward. We could have cleaned out every catch basin in the city, and we're still going to be flooded. Let's be real. All around the entire state, with what we had, was going to come there. So we could say all the great things. I told one of my constituents, my road never floods, and I had about 8 or 9 inches between a sewer backup and water coming in. So in this storm, we could look at ways to get those areas that really get flooded heavy. And I know that the director, we were texting, and he told me the high priority areas, If that brook needs to be cleaned before a storm, do we clean the debris so it doesn't stop it? But this storm was gonna flood 21st Ave, upper 21st Ave, down by Market Street, by Market Street, had cars floating. Never get flooded over there, never. So at the end of the day, I commend the Paterson DPW and our public safety because we were reacting. We're lucky we didn't have, we're looking at now loss of life.
Yeah.
The lady said she was trying to just get out at that time.
We told the family in need to get out. 'Cause they-
Yeah, that's the type of storm we dealt with, and that's what I'm saying to the public. I looked at my block. It was up to my knee when I walked out my door. The next morning, you didn't even think it rained. I woke up, the sun was out, so the sewer lines were working, it just couldn't keep up. And that's where we're at now. Now we got to look at, is this going to be an occurring weather pattern that now we're getting? Is this going to be a yearly thing? That's global warming and climate change and all that. That's a separate debate. This council, I'm sure we have climate experts and somebody will tell us what's happening.
That's not my area.
We have 9 members. I'm sure we have a climate expert here. Every night we get some new expert. But I commend the director. The recommendation, I think, what we got to look at is how can we learn from this, right? Yes. Are there some areas now are going to be flood areas that weren't high priority? This is a wake-up call. We evaluate and you plan forward. But I don't think we could stop the flooding. That's Mother Nature coming down there. We got to alleviate the damage and help recover, like the Councilman Mendez said. The road to recovery. We need to be there for the residents to make sure they recover from what had happened.
Thank you very much, Councilman Abdulaziz. And, I did have to step out to the ladies' room, so I don't know where we left off in terms of, Madam BA, in terms of addressing and please having is Webster Ave. Okay, so I really want you to put that on the top
We'll be
of
out
the
there
agenda.
tomorrow. I'm going to call Mr. Albert. I'll be out there tomorrow.
Okay. So, Madam BA?
Yes, Council President, thank you. I just wanted to respond to Councilman Mendez. I understand the frustration of maybe not having a disaster recovery center set up in Paterson yet. We'll be speaking with the Congressman's office. I think the important point here, though, is that it's federal resources, and so we have to have the expertise on the federal level, because it's not only FEMA, it's the U.S. Small Business Administration, which provides a lot of the loans and grants that can help these families. So it's not necessarily something that city employees would be well versed in and would be able to assist with. But we do want to make sure that we have some presence, maybe a little closer to Paterson, or we have some way to assist residents with those at those locations. But additionally, we do have our social service team has been doing a great job assisting people. We clearly have to get the word out more, and we will continue to do that. Finally, I'd like to thank the council in terms of just some of the planning that this team is doing in terms of flood mitigation plans. Just this year alone, we included a sewer truck on the capital plan, and we also, when the DCA MOU came in and allowed us to use another because of the calendar year reversion, use $500,000 for a capital purchase, the engineering team and the DPW team prioritize another sewer truck. Again, to be able to deal with, removing catch basins, cleaning out catch basins, cleaning out sewer lines before a lot of these storms. So it's with your partnership that you've been helping us to address and to try to be proactive even when some of these situations are going to occur no matter what.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, council members, let's continue with the agenda. At this time, what I'll do is I'll take the first reading.
First reading, ordinances?
First reading ordinances, item number 3, please.
Yes, next item on the agenda is our first reading ordinances, item number 3. Item number 3 for first reading, no public hearing is required. An ordinance leasing a portion of Christopher Hope Community Center, 60 Temple Street, Paterson, New Jersey, from the Paterson Housing Authority, Health and Human Services.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Abdulaziz and second by Councilwoman Mims. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on item number 3.
Yes, roll call on item number 3 for first reading. Councilman Abdulaziz?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Council President, first, I thought this item was removed. Second, I took the time out to do a tour of the location and to do some research on the presumed lease. We're being charged $2,600 per month. We're paying for parking spaces that we own. The property is owned by the city of Paterson. The housing pays 0 tax dollars on the facility. And yet and still, here this council is yet once again backing down and not standing firm in support of our residents, our children. The mere fact, I thought we were all in consensus that we were going to wait and allow them the opportunity to move forward with a foreclosure.
No, Councilman Jackson, we did
This
not.
count-
Councilman Jackson, no. You did make that recommendation. The council, the majority of the
voting,
council said
Council
to keep it
President. I thought I was
on
voting.
and to vote it up or down.
We're voting on it.
So once again, here it is where this council fails to recognize the necessity to support its residents, its youth, and allows yet another agency that's divvying off millions of dollars to outside vendors and everyone else and providing little to no support for our children. No support. I had the privilege of going to see a youth midget league football game in Elizabeth, where the city of Orange, their council body, members of their council body, and their mayor was there in full support. The cheerleader, the chief cheerleader of the city speaks. When yet here we are, who is gonna stand firm and represent the children in this community? Who is gonna do it? While housing sits here and overseeing property that we own and threaten to evict our children, these are the most, disenfranchised children in the community. And here they are threatening to evict us, and this council tucks its tail once again, hides behind a tree, and doesn't stand firm in representation of its community. My vote is absolutely not. This is ridiculous, yet again.
Councilman Khalid?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. You know what's disturbing? In our Human Services, Health and Human Service Committee today, we had an item on the agenda. One of our youth services program, we're using one of the schools. And for free, incline contribution. Right. So if we could you do the same thing with this, public school, we don't own public school. But this housing authority is, right, exactly, is one of our city entity. Why can't we do the same thing with this entity? I think the administration needs to go speak to them and have a shared services agreement, so we don't have to pay any money. We don't have to spend any taxpayer money for this Christopher Hope Community Center. Until they do that, my vote is no.
Councilman Mendez?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I think that, I was outside for a minute, but I know we're voting on the ordinance listing a portion of Christopher Hope Community Center on 60 Temple Street from the Paterson Housing Authority. And let me just say this. I think that those separate entity that we have in the city of Paterson, like the Housing Authority, I have my personal concern about that. I've been trying to get a meeting with the director myself for the last couple of months. I never got a phone call back. It's not even a phone call.
She doesn't respect.
And in order for me to get in contact with the Housing Authority, my secretary have to spend hours trying to reach somebody there. And maybe they get back to you. I do believe in shared services agreement. Those entities, they're not in the city of Paterson by themselves. Those are city property. And not gonna continue saying this. Now, let me just explain to my constituent on Heritage Place what has been going on. Between the Housing Authority and Payne's Road, they are responsible for that conflict. One portion belongs to the 3rd Ward, another portion belongs to the 6th Ward. The contract that Paynes Road has in the beginning, and if you go back to the contract, it's very specific there that they have to provide security 24/7 to that site. Now what they're doing is they provide 24 hours a week only. There's so many quality of life issues there, you cannot talk to nobody. I've been trying to have a conversation with the housing authority about how can we utilize the center that they have because they're responsible for that. And they denied our children that live on that complex to use that rec center. But at the same time, they're renting that facility to a private entity. And I've been trying to have a conversation, but I can't. They haven't given me the chance to have a meeting and sit down with the director. We got to stop over here. They think that they could do whatever they want with our children, with the city, and we have to stop that. I do believe on a shared services agreement. Heritage Place, that complex, our children, they have the right to utilize that as many times as they want. How dare you rent that location to a private entity and deny our children to play a sport on that facility? The only choice that they have is to play around the complex, around the block, on the parking lot, disturbing everybody because there's no other area. So that's what has been going on with the city of Paterson. The only power that we have as a governing body is our vote. The housing authority, there's got to be a meeting with this council. There's a lot of problem on their facility, and a shared services agreement that help the community have to be in place. My vote is no.
Councilman Mims?
So, there's been great dialogue that has went on, but let me say, there's a lot of things that are housed in Christopher Hope Center, a lot. So, a lot for our youth. You have the Youth Service Bureau that's there. We have our newly expanded library that is in this location. We have it for the cooling station when we have issues with our homeless and different things. They're housed in this facility. But this is not really for, they're charging just for the facility. Outlined in their invoice on page number 5, the charges are only for the utilities, which is lights and gas, the maintenance person, if you've ever been there, that works there, the maintenance and custodial service. They're charging, and they break down what is outlined for this, janitorial, parking, different things. It's outlined as to what this is for. I'm not against a shared service agreement. My concern is what happens if it's not approved. Do our youth service and those entities that are based there now, our children that I saw that were really excited that now they have a library in that particular ward, what happens if this doesn't get approved and we have to wait, and what happens if the housing authority does not agree that they want to do that? What happens to all of these different programs that utilize this service for different things? So based on the invoice that is before us and what we're looking at, my vote is yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Well, you know, I haven't been happy with the parking authority since I took office. That's one. I'm gonna make some recommendations. Excuse me? The housing authority for some time. Apologize. We asked the administration to show, to explore some shared service agreements for the past 3 years. We haven't seen anything yet. That includes with, school district, housing, parking, any entity that we could, combine resources and provide better services to our community. That's what we want to see. But all I've heard is complaints from the housing authority since I've been here. Sometimes I've called the clerk to assist me in connecting with the housing authority because it's hard even for a councilman to get connected to them. I have instances where I will have a person know their place in the list, call a second time, go up by like 200 on the list. When I call and question it, go back down to where the original number was on the list. So I'm going to propose a few things to my council colleagues. Why can't we take a vote with no confidence on the housing authority? All we have heard is complaints. Listen, I understand it's election time for some of us, and I made a pledge that whenever elections influence my decision, I will stop running. This cannot wait. This cannot wait. And we spoke about having a joint meeting with them. Whatever happened with that? It's like there's no respect towards the council. We created that entity. The council created the housing authority.
Mm-hmm.
Don't they know that we could dissolve them? But once again, friendships get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
People start calling higher, offices for not to touch those offices, and at the end, who gets hurt? The residents. The residents got hurt. So all I'm saying is, not being a bully, I'm just fighting for my residents. Let's have that meeting. When are we going to have that meeting? Who's going to put it together, Council President? Who's the person that will put that meeting together?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and vote, and then I'll...
Because it is just disturbing that for years, Shaheen, Councilman Khalid, we had this conversation 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
How they initially, I can't accuse them of purposely doing things, but how there's been instances where they would send a letter to someone to the new address, but then this follow-up meeting that
The
they supposed to
approval,
have,
the approval, then...
then they would send it to the old address. And guess what happens? The person loses their place in line and everything, and there's no consequences. That person is out of luck. They don't get an apartment because, and I'm not saying it's intentional, but I just don't see how you send the initial letter to the new address, and then the second follow-up letter for your second interview to the wrong address, and then nobody shows up for the second interview. Then they get disqualified. And it's not just one instance. It's been several instances. Something's got to be done. And the last thing I'm going to say, I'm going to ask my council colleagues, let's be responsible when we put things on people on boards, because I know that a lot of times, this is what happens a lot of times, and I've heard conversations. Sometimes, before someone gets put on a board, they communicate with the people running those entities to see if, how they feel about that person. No. Make your own decision. Put a person that's responsible, that's going to work with them, not fight them, work with them, but it's going to hold them accountable. Just like we got elected by the people to hold this administration accountable and work with them, that's the same thing that that we need to do whenever we appoint someone to boards. My vote is yes. I take that back. My vote is no on that lease.
Madam President?
So, Madam Clerk, can you read the votes?
2 in favor, 4 against, and 2 absent.
So, it's obvious that this measure will fail. Councilman Rivera is correct in saying that we've been asking, for a shared services agreement for quite some time. We've also requested to meet with the different entities. And, unfortunately, I've been told by some of my colleagues, they've held a statutory meeting and that only entity does not show. Okay, so it is clear. I get numerous complaints. There's been instances I have reached out. I don't get messages or text messages returned till, later on. There has been instances where I reached out concerning a housing issue and it has not been her issue, so I have to say that as well. But the majority of what's been going on has been going on right out of Van Houten. And so, Madam BA, you see this measure failing. I want to see them put our children out of that building. I doubt very much that's what's going to happen, but this action needed to be taken. My vote is no.
Thank you. The vote is 2 in favor, 5 against, 2 absent. Item number 3 failed.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, item number 4 for first reading.
Next item is item number 4 for first reading. No public hearing is required. An ordinance vacating an easement at 361-367 Marshall Street in the city of Paterson, Passaic County, New Jersey, Department of Public Works. There a motion?
So move.
Moved by Councilman Mendez. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? Second, Madam Clerk. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on item number 4 for first reading.
Second by Councilman Davila. Roll call on item number 4 for first reading. Councilman Abdelaziz. Yes. Councilman Kalik.
Yes.
Councilman Mendez.
Yes.
Councilman Mims.
Yes.
Councilman Rivera.
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes.
The vote is 6 in favor, 3 absent. Item number 4 is hereby adopted on first reading. Second reading will be held at the next regular meeting to be held on September 28th, 2021 at 7 p.m.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, item number 5.
Next item is item number 5 for first reading. No public hearing is required. An ordinance establishing always stop control at the intersection of Hamilton Avenue and Summer Street, Department of Public Works.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Mendez, second by Councilwoman Mims. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on item number 5.
Yes, roll call on item number 5 for first reading. Councilman Abdelaziz. Councilman
Mendez.
Mendez.
Yes.
Councilman Mims.
Yes.
Councilman Rivera.
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor, 4 absent. Item number 5 is hereby adopted on first reading. Second reading will be held at the next regular meeting of September 28, 2021 at 7 p.m.
Thank you very much. Item number 6.
Next item is item number 6 for first reading. No public hearing is required. An ordinance establishing always stop control intersection of Trenton Avenue and Michigan Avenue, Department of Public Works.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Abdelaziz and second by Councilman Mendez. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on item number 6.
Yes. Roll call on item number 6 for first reading. Councilman Abdelaziz.
To the residents in the Lakeview section, to the families that go to the park, and to the students that go to School 25. So in the 6th Ward, as you know, we've resurfaced pretty much 90% of Lakeview section. Every road has been repaved, and we've seen numerous speeding and accidents happening. And when we repaved Trenton Avenue from 22nd Ave all the way down to Crooks Ave, at one point did not have a stop sign. And it was constantly, pedestrian safety was definitely impacted. We added stop signs on Buffalo and on Maryland, and you saw a little change on there. And this one is something that I've been requesting since 2 years ago, and our traffic engineers finally approved it. The residents have been begging for this. It's going to enhance the area, and I'm glad to see it on this agenda and gladly support it. So my vote is yes. Thank you.
And item number 7, too, Councilman.
We're going to remove that.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Thank you.
should've
Councilman
told me that.
Mendez.
Yes, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Mims.
Yes.
Councilman Rivera.
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor, 4 absent. Item number 4 is hereby adopted on first reading. Second reading will be held at the next regular meeting of September 28, 2021 at 7 p.m.
Thank you. So, Madam Clerk, item number 7, Councilman Abdelaziz would like to bring it back to committee.
Yes, Council President, if we respectfully remove item number 7, I do want to discuss some of that with the traffic engineer.
Very good. Very good.
Just to see the traffic pattern, sometimes overloading. So I just want to talk to them. There's some concerns from residents that we don't want to, we want to see what happens. Thank you.
Yes, that's for the record. Item number 7 is taken
removed.
off. Yeah, thank you, Madam
It's
President.
going to go back to committee.
Back to,
Okay, well, after your conversation. All right, so on that note, I believe Director, item 30 is the last one for you. You have more? Huh? Hold on. We did second, we did first reading. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, so you know what? All right, Madam Clerk, item number 27, right? 27, 20, oh, I didn't realize this, 29 and 30. Got it.
27?
Yes, Madam Clerk.
Next item on the non-consent agenda is item number 27. Item number 27 reads resolution authorizing an application to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, Transportation, Electrification Grant Program, Department of Public Works, Resolution 21-417.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Mendez and second by Councilman Abdelaziz. And Councilwoman Mims, roll call, Madam Clerk, on item 27 for approval.
Roll call on item number 27. Councilman Abdelaziz?
Yes.
Councilman Mendez?
Yes.
Councilman Mims?
Yes.
Councilman Rivera?
Yes.
Madam President?
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor, 4 absent. Item number 27 is hereby adopted.
Thank you. Item number 28, Madam Clerk.
Next item is item number 28, for approval, resolution authorizing change order number 3 for the CSO solids and floatables control facilities for outfall 029, bid number 14.31 for the Division of Engineering and Department of Public Works, Resolution 21-477.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Mendez, second by Councilwoman Mims. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on item 28 for approval.
Roll call on item number 28, Councilman Abdelaziz.
Yes.
Councilman Mendez.
Yes.
Councilman Mims.
Yes.
Councilman Rivera. Madam President.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor, 4 absent. Item number 28 is hereby adopted.
Thank you very much. Item 29, Madam Clerk.
Next item is item number 29, resolution authorizing the City of Paterson to enter into co-op pricing agreement as part of NJCSO Group, Department of Public Works, Resolution 21-478.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Mendez, second by Councilwoman Mims. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on item 29 for approval.
Roll call on item number 29, Councilman Abdelaziz.
Yes.
Councilman Mendez.
Yes.
Councilman Mims.
Yes.
Councilman Rivera.
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor, 4 absent. Item number 29 is hereby adopted.
Thank you. Item
30.
number 30.
Next item is item number 30, resolution authorizing a contract with Champion Elevator on the New Jersey State contract for elevator maintenance, repair, testing, and inspection services, Department of Public Works, Resolution 21-479.
Hold up, before you move it, before it's moved. Actually, no, we can speak it, go ahead.
So moved.
Can we continue with the
Moved by
motion?
Councilwoman Mims and second.
Second.
By Councilman Mendez. Discussion for a minute.
Yes.
To the director, Madam BA, we have been having issues. I don't know where we stand in terms of the police department and what's been going on, and it's been over a week. Please tell me that this is going to address that issue. Director,
Yes. This will address that issue.
ASAP, like tomorrow?
We'll be calling the company tomorrow morning. As soon as you guys approve this, we'll be calling them to get them in. The last company gave us some quotes on some part repairs that are broken in the complex elevators. But hopefully this contractor, he's a state contractor, which means he works abroad, the whole state. So maybe we're hoping he's a better contractor. The last one was not up to par.
Yeah, because that elevator continued to break
Yes.
down. I mean, and,
Yep.
we've had quite some issues there. And
That's why we
having,
went with
having
state
to
contractor.
take prisoners up,
Yep.
6 flights and, I mean,
Right, and Council President, I commend the director on being proactive about this. I mean, this was placed on the workshop agenda last week before anything happened, and our elevator contract with our current company doesn't expire until the end of the month. They needed another option because they were seeing that, just the customer service wasn't there.
Yes.
They were showing up on sites and not letting them know, so then they were looking at the wrong things, and when our facilities team could have pointed
Okay.
them in the right direction. So they made a change when they knew it was happening.
okay, Councilman Rivera, then Councilwoman Mims.
So we're still paying the other company, correct?
Yeah, they're still on contract to the end of the month, right? To the end of this
So
month.
they should be addressing this problem that we have at the,
That's, me and Harry spoke about that. We do want to, if it's gonna be in the time period that's before the end of the month, we want them to address it, because it falls under their contract.
because today's the 14th, right?
Yes,
They still under contract.
yes,
This new contract we're voting on starts on October 1st.
yes.
So this issue could be, it has
What-
to be, it could be considered an emergency, right? So we need them to fix this ASAP.
There's some of the parts that they have to order. I'm not an elevator expert, but some parts are just prone to that type of elevator. You can't, it's not like you go you have to get the part from that company that makes that elevator. You can't buy off-market parts for certain elevators.
Can I ask you a
Yeah.
question, Director? In situations like this, even at work, right? What we're interested in, and yourself, is getting it done, right?
Yes, definitely.
Sometimes I like to hear for myself that the part cannot get, like I wouldn't take the word of the company. So what I recommend, maybe have the purchasing agent, if you haven't done so already, reach out to those companies himself. Because a lot of times, it will not be in the best interest of the company to get it done before the end of the month, because you're not gonna contract with them anymore.
And that's why we're gonna call this company tomorrow to have them come in to give us estimates on what they think is wrong with the elevators.
No, I know, but the goal is to get the company that we're actually paying
I
for this
understand where
month
you're coming from, yeah.
to get it done. So we should reach out to the entity that actually have the parts and see if we could get the parts ASAP. That way this company does the job that we're paying them to do. I think, Harry, if you don't mind, Director, you let.
Council President,
Yes.
Councilman, I spoke with the supervisor, Larry, this morning, the company that has existing contract. I remind him of the responsibilities that they have under the contract. Consequent to that, he sent proposals. I did not receive the proposal, I think $4,000 for the repair, about $4,000. And he acknowledged also that at the end of the month, that's it. He was looking to see if we would have an opportunity, as part of the resolution called for, like 1 year extension. But due to the fact, like, director made the decision that we should try somebody else under the state contract, he knows that after the 31st, he won't be serving the city. My emphasis was, and I was very clear to tell him that he had the obligation to cover, but also he hear from the director that it's not so much that they're going to come, but it's related to parts needed, and that is part of the holdup. Because it's very difficult to get the parts, and I haven't talked to them about that, because my job is to let them know that under the contract they have to come and fix the things that we need to be fixed.
Can I make a suggestion? If we having difficulties dealing with the company that we contracted now,
Yes.
the one that we currently have for this month, can we do an emergency to repair that elevator?
We can do that, but first, like everything that I do, I know this is, I pass it on to legal, I get their okay, and I do what I need to do as a purchasing agent.
Sure.
The only thing, I follow your idea, which is terrific, but the fact of the matter is like, yes, we call an emergency, but if they also don't have the part,
No, but that's what I suggested, that we call the company to see if we could, if there's actually a holdup to get the parts.
That's the problem.
Let's call ourselves the company. Let's call it the.
We did.
company. Oh, we did?
Yes.
All right, so end of the discussion then.
Yes. No.
That's what I wanted to hear, if you did or not.
We did.
Yeah.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Harry.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Yes,
I was next, Council
Oh, I'm
President.
sorry.
But my question was, it was answered.
Answer?
My question was answered.
Sure.
So we could move forward in the roll call? Thank you, Councilwoman.
Yes, Council President.
Roll call, please, Madam
Yes,
Clerk.
Mr. President. Roll call on item number 30 for approval. Councilman Abdelaziz. Yes. Councilman Mendez.
Yes, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Mims.
Yes.
Councilman Rivera.
Yes.
Councilman Kalik.
Yes.
Madam President?
Yes.
The vote is 6 in favor, 3 absent. Item number 30 is hereby adopted.
Madam Clerk, it's my understanding we have one more, item number 25?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Council President, I would like to have that item removed. We can bring it back at the next meeting.
Regular.
The next regular meeting when Councilwoman Cotton is present.
Okay, very well. We are removing item number 25, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Madam President. For the
We'll put it
record.
on for the following regular meeting.
Okay. Okay. All right. For the record, item number 25 is taken off until the next regular meeting,
Thank you.
which is September.
Have a motion to close?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Mendez and second by Councilman Kalik. Roll call to close the regular meeting of Tuesday, September 14th.
Yes. Roll call to close the regular meeting of September 14, 2021. Councilman Abdulaziz.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I hope everyone is recovering from this flood. As I stated earlier, we are going to hopefully have things in place through the administration. I know I'm working with Council President and Councilman Rivera to do something in the 6th Ward to assist residents with FEMA. Unfortunately, Boys and Girls Club is also closed and cleaning up their property where we want to use their computer lab. I wanted to just say something about September 11. My prayers go out to all the victims and first responders that we lost that day, but it was touching seeing the city come together, pay our respects to Kenny Lira, a 6th Ward resident, seeing many of the 6th Ward family there 20 years later, standing by his family. So if you're ever in the area of Buffalo Ave and Raritan, that's the corner that he lived, you'll see a nice monument for Kenny Lira if you want to just stop there, pay your respects. So, Council President, my vote is yes. Thank you.
Councilman Kalik.
Good night, Paterson. My vote is yes.
Thank you. Councilman Mendez.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So before my vote, I think that in this difficult time that we're going through, I know we have a lot of residents of the city of Paterson that are still struggling with this flooding by Hurricane Ada. Let's keep all of them in our prayer. So to all my 3rd Ward residents, I've been in contact with a lot of them. So I'll repeat my cell phone number, which is 973-930-1436. We have the dumpster on Madison Avenue and 3rd Avenue. That it's already full. I have a conversation with the director, with Dalla Fisher, should be picked up tomorrow. But as I mentioned before, it was very devastating for me to see a family, a Paterson resident, come in front of this mic on public portion, say that, listen, that we're homeless, we need help. And seeing all the municipality putting together a team of people on site to assist the resident, it really concerns me that in Paterson, the 3rd largest city in the state of New Jersey, this administration failed once again. This mayor failed once again to have a team of people. It could be in City Hall, at the library, and different sections, the most affected section, with people on site ready to help those residents to whether it's applied and reported all the damage to FEMA, whatever the case might be, giving the help that they need right there on site immediately. How difficult is that? I don't know. I just don't understand that. There's a big lack of leadership, and the community and our residents, they are the ones that are suffering the most. During the payment of bill, I spoke about this horrendous situation with the Board of Education. Our taxpayer got hit once again with $5 million. This mayor failed to fight in support of our taxpayer. For the last 3 years, the Board of Education, they've been raising the taxes through the city. But the administration doesn't say anything about it. I know we're gonna have a conversation very soon about that topic, but it's really sad. I'm just gonna say that. Paterson, God bless you all. Let's continue praying for our city, and my vote is yes. Good night.
So first, I want to give my prayers out to all of the families in the city of Paterson that have lost their loved ones, whether it's through COVID, natural occurrences, sicknesses, illnesses, traumatic experiences, or senseless violence. my prayers go out to all of the families. Also, my prayers for all of our students, educators, and our staff for a safe, successful, and a healthy school year as they are starting school. If you have issues with the schools, please reach out to the school board commissioners. We are city council members, and I know sometimes we respond and we answer, but there are 9 school board commissioners that are well-equipped to handle those. The 9/11 ceremony, I want to thank my legislative aide, Mrs. Marie Pilar Rivas, for being there. 9/11 is a little different for me because on 9/11, my grandmother passed away. And then 11 months after that, my grandfather passed on October the 11th. So 9/11 for me is different. So there are days when I'm able to be there, and then there's other days when, grief sets in. So no matter how many years it's been, it's still hard. And so just keep our family in prayer. There's so many events that are happening throughout the course of this week. We have Miss Zoila Casanova, who is running to become Passaic County surrogate. She has an event tomorrow night, Hispanic event tomorrow night, celebrating Chairman John Curry at the Brownstone at 6 o'clock. So if you have not bought your ticket from her, please do that. And then on Saturday, there are many events. I know the Green Team has talked about their event, but there are a host of events, and I agree with Council President, just because someone is not at an event does not mean they don't care or they're not responding to the concerns of the constituents. But I find people that are trying to run for us, for the seat that we hold, will say those type of commentary. Also, on next Friday night will be my night out with Councilwoman Mims at the Brownstone. Many of you have responded. I want to thank Paterson for your overwhelming support for this event. We're looking to have a night of laughter, dance, and fun. And I'm super excited. Next Friday night, September 24th at 6:30 at the Brownstone. All of the council members, I text everyone individually with an invite, and I pray that you can come out and support. And so to Paterson at large, let's keep building, let's keep growing, let's keep being safe, and let's keep doing what we do best. We have a bounce back ability in this great city, and no matter how devastating it looks, no matter how much trauma that we experience, we know how to come together when the times get rough. And with that being said, we're better together. God bless the great city of Paterson, and good night. My vote is yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Councilman Rivera?
Just want to say that I hope everything that was discussed today doesn't go on deaf ears. Let's follow up for the best interest of everyone. I think we had a good meeting tonight. Look at the time, before 10. So I'm not going to prolong it. My vote is yes, and good night to everyone.
Thank you. Madam President? Oh, Councilman, I didn't see you. Because your voices, you have so many different voices, I can't know who you are. Councilman Jackson, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome, sir.
So, I'm of a different mindset, and I'll try to be as brief as possible, Madam Clerk. I know you're tired, you want to get out of here. But just because you have a meeting that ends before 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock doesn't mean you're being productive. You know, as the numbers, and I'm hoping, Council President, we can get a report from all of the shootings that have taken place and all of the, the horrendous conditions that the community is in, the deplorable conditions. I'm just having a clear understanding that we've had yet another CDL driver quit from the Department of Public Works, and it's almost impossible to get employees to sign on. But yet and still, I'm finding that there's new employees throughout the community, throughout the administration, and particularly in the BA's office. And I'm hoping to get a report there, because from what I'm understanding, that person is a non-resident as well. So for me, I'm here to do a job. I'm not here to get out early tap out early while the conditions of the city continue to decline, and residents in the city still have to, need a shoulder to cry on. It's disappointing, the lack of progress that has been made during these last 3 years. In fact, the amount of steps backwards that we've taken is absolutely alarming. But with that being said, there's still some optimism. I think that people have begun to awaken, and I really can't wait until this next election cycle, because I think people now understand it clearly, who is for them and who is full of hot air, full of songs and dance, and who's coming into your house just to eat your chicken and things of that nature. So I'm sorry to hear that Councilwoman Mims has lost her family member on 9/11, but my heart goes out to her and her family, also to several people in our community who have lost loved ones. Miss Kamisha Rogers, I know you had a loss recently as well, but you know what? We owe our community a lot more. We owe our community better, and we are failing them from my viewpoint. But with that being said, Madam Clerk, my vote is yes.
Thank you, Madam President.
So, statements are sometimes made, and depending on who's watching, they'll take it a certain way, and some may not understand. I appreciate my colleagues, each and every one of them. But I don't want to be here till midnight and still not have an answer tomorrow. Work has to get done, but it doesn't get done just specifically on council meeting days. It gets done throughout the week. In terms of the administration, not a cheerleader, they know it. I've said it once and over again. We compromise, we work together, and we can get things done. But I also don't want to take away of some of the things that they have done. And to speak specifically to this, won't say much about the pandemic in terms of all the funding and some of the things that were happening, but specific to Ida. To say that nothing has been done is wrong. To see on a day in, day out how our Paterson Police Department and Fire Department are working extra to make sure that everyday constituents are getting water, to delivering them to senior homes, to having our Health and Human Services Director leave with the homeless constituent who was here, taking action along with the police department because severe issues were going on. So it's sad to say that my colleagues would say that nothing is being done. That's not right and it's not fair, and we cannot say that. Can we do better? Absolutely. Can this mayor do better? Absolutely. Can I do better? Absolutely. And so can all of you. So let us just come together and stop it with the bashing and at least say, you know what? All right, I'm not happy. I'm going to move forward. And yes, bring the items. Say it on record. Put it on record. This is what we're here for. But we don't have to be here till midnight to say over and over and over again and still have our clerk go home and our assistant go home 12:30, because we leave, but they still stay here. They still clean up. And they still have to come back and come early tomorrow morning. So council colleagues, once again, I truly appreciate each and every one of you. I'm happy that we are a team. Unlike some may think that we are a dysfunctional team, I think that we're a good team and that we can do so much better. So with that said, Madam Clerk, my vote is yes to close the regular meeting of September 14th. Thank you. Good night, Paterson.
Thank you. The vote is 7 in favor, 2 absent. The regular meeting of September 14, 2021 is hereby adjourned. Good night, everyone. Thanks. Perfect.